Hi everyone! I just have to quickly interrupt today's video with a quick little announcement. As of this month, I will be reintroducing memberships to my website. So monthly memberships, if you're new or just to kind of give you a refresher, are an opportunity for me to offer you exclusive content such as extended readings and early access to content as well. I will also be offering exclusive discounts to members, and we will be having giveaways on there starting from this month. So at this stage, the main tier or plan that I'm offering is called the Amethyst Hermes plan. And this plan is really catered towards lovers of the Pick a Group extended readings on my main channel. Amethyst Hermes will have access to all the extended readings that I post each month, as well as exclusive website discounts and merch giveaways starting from this month. So the first 5 people to join my Amethyst Hermes tier will receive a tote bag and water bottle after their second month of membership. Now, the main reason I've chosen to reintroduce memberships is because a lot of you had actually reached out to me and pointed out, which is something that I know, and I was working on it for a while, but a lot of you reached out and said, like, is there going to be a more economical option for us if we really enjoy your extended readings, but we don't want to pay this much amount of money every time? And that's really what this tier is for. If you choose to sign up to this Amethyst tier, you'll have access to all of the readings I post each month, and it's a continual thing, sweets. So as I continue posting, you'll continue to have access to that content from February onwards. So if you were to join up in May, you would have access to all the extended readings going right back to February. If you choose to stay on board until May, you'll continue to have access to all the Pick a Group extended readings until you choose to cancel. So the only thing that you pay is that monthly payment up front, and it doesn't cost you anything to cancel because I do want you to still have that flexibility to opt in and out when you want. And on top of that, I will still be keeping the individual extended readings over on Moments as well, because I do know that there's going to be certain topics that you may not feel very drawn to. So you are welcome to use this as another flexible way of saving money if you anticipate that you're going to be purchasing a lot of extended readings or a lot of different groups within an extended reading, if that makes sense. That's where this Amethyst Hermes tier will come in to full effect. So that's kind of the main reason that I chose to reintroduce the Amethyst Hermes tier, but memberships in general, I wanted to bring them back, but I wanted them to operate from my website instead of another host like Patreon, for example, or even Vimeo. The way that I am hoping to have this membership operating is that it's going to be its own forum where we can really communicate with each other. The upper level tiers will be able to have ongoing conversations about topics they're interested in. They will have access to content before it is released, and they will be able to contribute a lot of information to the many different things that I've got going on at the moment, whether it's the podcast, whether it's the Pick a Group readings, the Zodiac readings. I will be expanding the membership options and introducing new plans and different tiers that offer different access to different content as I make more content available. So there will be more coming, so stay tuned. If this sounds like something you're interested in or you're curious about, the link is in the description box. I encourage you to go and click on it and have a read. If you have any questions or comments, please comment down below. I'm hoping to be monitoring the comments on this video for the next 72 hours. So I will do my best to get back to you and to answer any questions that I see. If you feel like you aren't going to be seen in the comments, you're more than welcome to email me as well. I just want to make sure that we address any issues straight up, and I'll be as flexible as I can because it's my website. So if there's anything else that you want to know, or if there's anything else that you want to see included in these memberships, please let me know, and I will do my best to be flexible with you as we continue to grow. Now I'll take you back to your reading. Thanks for listening. Hi everyone, and welcome to today's reading. I am the Hermit Tarot, and this is my free tarot reading channel. I caught myself a little bit off guard because I didn't know if I was going to be filming this intro, so welcome, welcome, welcome. Today's video is going to be a pick a group tarot reading. If you don't know already, I do have a second channel as well now where I do mostly zodiac readings. There'll be some other stuff on that channel later, but for the moment, it's mostly just going to be my zodiac reading channel. So if you're curious and you want to keep up to date with what's going on for your zodiac signs, because sometimes we look at more than our sun sign, then I do recommend that you have a look in the description box and subscribe to that channel for more info. Now, with that out of the way, today's video is going to be another love reading. It is the month of February when I'm filming this, so even though it's a timeless reading, the month of February usually sparks a lot of thoughts about love, mostly because of Valentine's Day. It's so interesting though when you realize that Valentine's Day is technically in the sign of Aquarius. I don't know, not to say that Aquarius isn't romantic, but it's very, no wonder this day seems to bring mixed feelings for a lot of people. It makes so much more sense. So we're going to be asking Spirit all about your next relationship, basically. This reading will be split into two in terms of there will be a reading on YouTube and then there will be an extended reading as well. So for the reading on YouTube today, we're going to be looking at what your next relationship will be and who it will be with. We'll also be getting some advice, and I will be pulling some channeled messages as well from this person. And then in the extended reading, each of the groups will be looking at when this relationship will happen, how and why. The why, we're going to look at why you two come together from each other's perspectives in terms of how you influence their life and how they influence your life. I will also get more channeled messages in that extended as well. So as you can tell, we have 4 groups to choose from today. 1, 2, 3, 4. Starting with Uno, we have the 3rd house over here. Now, I'm going to hold these cards on a certain angle to stop that glare, as you can tell here. So if you do want to get a really thorough look at your card, feel free to pause it at any time just to inspect them. This deck has incredible imagery on each of the cards, a lot of colors and shapes and planets and other, this is a part of the human body. I'm pretty sure that's a synapse in the brain. So there's a lot going on. So yeah, pause it if you need more time. That's the first group with the 3rd house. Second group, you have the moon. And at the time that I'm filming this, we are currently going through a new moon in Aquarius, or Aquarius, I should say. So there's a little bit of relevance there. As you can also tell, this card is loaded with imagery. There's even a little person in there if you can spot them. So that's group 2. Group 3, you have the 5th house over here. Let me just hold it. You're going to focus? Yes. 5th house for group 3. And group 4, you have Capricorn. So very interesting. We got some houses, we got some planets, and we got some signs. So very diverse. I'm filming your intro before I filmed your group. So all I can say is take your time selecting your group. You may wish to join me in the 1-minute meditation, which plays after this clip, if you need more time. Otherwise, when you know which of these 4 groups you're feeling most called to, click on your timestamps and join me in your reading. So the first thing I want you to do with me is to take in 2 deep, mindful breaths. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4, and in, 2, 3, 4, and out, 2, 3, 4. Now I want you to focus on clearing your mind. It's natural to have thoughts racing at this point. I want you to embrace each thought as it comes and let it slip as quickly as it came in. Focus on clearing and balancing out these thoughts so that they come and go without a desire to be attached to them. And now, with a rested mind, I want you to think of the first group that comes to your mind. It may be a number, It may be an object that I showed you. It could be a specific color. It could be a feeling that you felt when I showed you each of the groups today. When you are ready and when you feel confident, select your group and join me in your reading. Hi Group 1 and welcome to your reading. If you chose the third house card over here, then this is going to be your reading today. Now Group 1, you guys chose the third house card. Now each of these cards were carefully chosen by Spirit to incorporate in your reading. So what I can tell you about the third house is that this person and you will have common interests. You may have really good conversations together, and you will either meet this person through a sibling or through someone in your shared community, like a friend of a friend, a mutual acquaintance. I can tell you that this person is someone who is going to be a good conversationalist. You may have opposing views at certain times, but I think that that's what makes your relationship interesting. This is someone who could come across as quite social, okay? Doesn't mean they're necessarily extroverted, but they could be quite social at times. I also feel like they have a curious energy about them where they like to learn about new things. So if you have anything unique or different about you compared to them, whether it's your upbringing or your interests or your background or your cultural background, I feel like they're going to be very intrigued and they're going to want to understand that better. I do think that you'll have shared interests, and I also think that there'll be just enough differences in your relationship to keep this person interested. Otherwise, that's probably just something to know about them. Third house gives me Gemini vibes. And this is someone that needs to be mentally stimulated in order to stay attentive. So keep that in mind. The other thing about this card is that it feels like this is someone that you may develop more of a friendship with first. Or the attraction could be very instant. It's just that it feels like it's not just a physical thing with them. Like, you will have the ability to get along with them. And I think it'll be more of like a, not so much as like the 11th house, but the third house always makes me think of someone that we enjoy talking to, right? It's not just someone who you're physically attracted to. This is someone who you enjoy talking to as well. You two, the only other thing that I'm picking up is that you may meet this person through study as well. It doesn't have to be intense study. It could just be like you're learning about something and that leads you to meeting this person. Yeah, I think that's all I'm picking up. So let's put your card down and let's get some other information out here. We're going to start, I have like a little notepad next to me on my phone, which is trying to remind me of where we're at and what I need to keep track of. So let's maybe start with who, shall we? Let's learn more about this person, Spirit. Who is Group 1 going to have a relationship with next? Now, when it comes to this relationship, it's very likely that you may already be in a relationship with this person, and this could just be like confirmation that your relationship, like whatever path your relationship is on, or maybe you just need the advice portion of this reading or confirmation that your relationship is headed in the right direction. We'll see, but it will also, I'm hoping, resonate for those who are already in relationships. So it could be a current, rather than a next. Who is the person that Group 1 will be in a relationship with next? They want to show me the shadow. Who will Group 1 be in a relationship with next? We also have the underworld over here. Who will Group 1 be in a relationship with next, please, Spirit? We also have the stone. I might get 2 more cards. Oh, look at that. We have the mentor. Are we gonna load? This person is cool. I like them. We also have the healer. Oh my days. Okay, so this is an interesting energy. I must have like a lot of, look at this. We have shaman at the back as well. Is my cut? Yeah. My camera just went really dark out of nowhere. So we also have shaman. So this person, Group 1, they are definitely someone who seems to have a profound impact on your emotional self and potentially your spiritual self, depending on how spiritual y'all are, because I know that a lot of different people watch these readings. The person who you'll be in a relationship with next is someone who is really here to kind of help you process a lot of subconscious hurt and pain that may have happened when you were younger in a previous relationship, or even like intergenerational trauma stuff. You know, it feels like this person is a very healing soul in your life. And for most of you, they will definitely start out as a friend or a friend of a friend through a sibling. Now, it kind of feels like this person has a lot to do with helping you embrace all aspects of your personality and confronting aspects of your shadow self. If you don't know a lot about shadow selves and that aspect of our identity, you're welcome to do your own research. It's really important that you do, actually. You don't just get all your information from one resource. So I do have a strong feeling that this person will have a lot to do with like bringing in a lot of self-acceptance and helping you be at peace with aspects of your personality that you may feel shame towards, or that you may keep sheltered from other people, or pains that you have subconsciously that also consciously impact your quality of life without you realizing it. It feels like this person may linger in the background for a little while, group one, before they end up becoming such a prominent figure in your life. They will be somewhat of a healer and mentor in your life. So this is, and shaman, like this is big energy. This is someone who will most likely contribute a lot of growth to you as a person, as a character, whether you choose to go into your spirituality or whether you choose to do a lot of like ego development in this lifetime. You will not be the same once this person enters your life. And it feels like either they're older than you, or maybe they just like have more life experience. They might come across as older, because it feels like they have a lot to teach you, sweets. It feels like this person will be someone that will be very dependable and reliable. They'll be someone that you can really lean on. They're a very strong person to have in your life. And yet I am picking up like a softer side to them that is just so open to you being your authentic self. Like you don't have to, in fact, they don't want you to be anything that you're not. So it feels like this person may at times, like you could be scared of a connection like this initially, because they bring about such an honest, authentic, open version of yourself that you're not used to being, you know, in front of other people. Maybe this is a side of you that you usually try to keep suppressed, but it feels like they come out and they bring out a very different side to you. And the main reason that I'm getting all of this is that like it's to help you see yourself differently. It's not to kind of make you feel weak. I don't believe that's the intention. We're going to go more into why in the extended, but it feels like this is just the kind of person who helps, like inspires us to look at ourselves more kindly and to be more aware of the fact that nobody's perfect, let alone, you know, when you've been through things and you're in that coping mechanism and survival mechanism. You're not technically perfect, but you're very strong and very resilient because of the way that you overcome those challenges. So I really think that this person has a lot to do with your healing and just embracing aspects of yourself that you may have otherwise been ashamed of. What can I tell you about this person? Now listen. Who are they? They are definitely someone who's been through a lot in their life. To be in this role where they are a healer mentor, they have been through some terrible stuff in their lives. And some of this stuff could be very traumatic, y'all. Like this could be the worst of the worst, like experiencing things like really on the knife's edge, you know, of life. But the important thing about that is that this person has not dwelled there. They no longer live there. They embrace that as part of who they are. Like that's what they've had to overcome in order to be the person they are today. But they're also striving to be a mentor towards other people and to help heal other people who may be in similar situations. So they're not someone who is actively dwelling on those previous lifetimes, because it almost feels like this is the kind of person that's experienced multiple lifetimes in one, you know. They're definitely somebody who is here on this earth to guide others and to help others, whether they do that as a part of their spirituality or just in their ego, you know, as someone who is very helpful towards other lost souls. I really think that, yeah, coming back to it, they're probably a very reliable person. I have a feeling that this person doesn't necessarily cope well with change. I think they're the kind of person that likes to enact change themselves, to be in control. But that being said, that makes them very reliable and dependable, because they're not just going to do the opposite of what they told you they were going to do, or they will give you lots of warning beforehand or an in-depth explanation. I have a feeling that this is someone who is usually very self-aware, but this is also someone who probably preaches that idea of never truly being healed, you know, that self-work can be an ongoing journey for the rest of your life. So I do think that they're not perfect, is what I'm trying to say, you know. They're still growing, they're still learning, and they're still healing, but they've done a heck of a lot of healing to get to where they are when y'all meet. Let's move forward, shall we? So what is your relationship going to be like with this person? I have this True Black deck here. I don't know how it's going to show up on camera, but we'll try our best. I'm going to move this out of the way. I might put it over there, actually. Is that still in frame? Yeah. Spirit, what can you tell us about Group 1's next relationship? What can you tell us about Group 1's next relationship, please, Spirit? What can you tell us about Group 1's next relationship? I haven't used this deck in a while, I'll be honest with you. It doesn't shuffle that well, but I shuffled it so much, so the cards are just ready for you. Group 1, your first card is the Tower card. What can you tell us about Group 1's next relationship, please, Spirit? Yeah, they keep showing me indication of like mutual friends and a shared community. We have Knight of Swords, or is that Cups? My bad, it's Cups. The Knight of Cups. Ooh, we like that. What else can you tell us about Group 1's next relationship, please, Spirit? Also, these things on my hands, they're not real tattoos, they're temporary, but they will be there one day, so get used to them. We also have the Knight of Coins in the reverse position. Can we please focus? Knight of Coins in the reverse position. There's one card in here, the Nine of Pentacles as well. That felt weird saying pentacles, pentacles. We also have the Nine of Pentacles. Okay, I might get... No, we're going to look at your bottom deck for now. Bottom deck energy is the Queen of Pentacles. Wow, we got a lot of Pentacles. Strong Earth energy. Where are my Taurus, Virgo, Capricorns? Wow, so yeah, heavy Earth energy. I really feel like this is someone who... Yeah, I'm hearing trial by fire with this Tower card here, trial by fire. They had to really prove how much they wanted to be in this life. Oh my days. That's a weird way of saying it, because I mean, nobody really asked to be here, hey? You're just brought into the world. So I do feel like with this Tower moment here, your relationship is definitely transformative. In fact, meeting someone like this has the ability to completely change you. It's kind of like that Moldavite thing that people assume happens when you buy Moldavite, how your life just turns into shambles, you know, like it flips upside down. If you don't know what I'm talking about, definitely research. There was a lot of rumors going around that Moldavite destroys families and destroys your whole life, because the idea behind the crystal is that it helps you see and remove things that are not of use to you, that do not belong in your life. And that's what the Tower moment really is. The Tower over here talks about destroying things that aren't built on solid foundations in the beginning, so they don't have any purpose. And if they don't happen by this way, like they're going to happen eventually anyway, it's going to fall apart eventually anyway. So I see a lot of triggering when this person initially comes in, and looking at who they are and how they live their life. They try to be very authentic. So someone like that can be very jarring to have in your life if you are associated to, or if you are living in an inauthentic way. And sometimes we don't realize how bad it is until someone like this comes along as well. I feel like they are going to completely test you initially, make you feel like, I really want this, but what do I have to do? There is this strong pull to one another with the Tower as well. A lot of Mars energy of, yes, there's destruction because Mars is the god of war, but there is this determination as well, and this desire to overcome any and all obstacles in order to be successful. So for whatever reason, your relationship starts with this energy of like, I need to prove myself, and I have a lot to prove, and I have a lot to work on as well. So it's very interesting. What I'm hearing is that for some of you, you could even butt heads with this person. If you're a very masculine energy, or you're in a very defensive energy, you could butt heads with this person initially, because it feels like there is triggering going on, right? There is this feeling of like needing to prove yourself and needing to stand up for yourself in a way. It's just, but at the same time being very pulled towards each other. It's a very almost chaotic energy, sweets. I'll be honest, group one. And then this kind of transitions into the Knight of Cups. So from this destruction of illusions and standing firm in what you are, who you are at your core, rebuilding yourself and recreating yourself based on how you want to be and who you want to be, excuse me for bumping the camera, we are then led to this Knight of Cups moment, where there's romance and romantic intentions. So it does feel like this kind of starts off as being like testing each other and maybe provoking each other and triggering each other to really rattle away any loose change that you may be clinging to that you don't need on this journey forward. From the Knight of Cups, we see that your relationship transitions into a very romantic energy. So it is very likely that it doesn't start that way. There's definitely attraction with the Tower card. There's definitely desire, but the romance seems to build. The romance is a tentative step forward, and it feels like one person has to be very forward moving in order for that to happen, especially after the Tower. One person has to kind of put their heart on their sleeve and say, like, this is what's going on, like, I have feelings for you. And I do think that it's going to vary for your group. For some of you, it'll be you, the viewer, that does this, whereas for others of you, it could be the other person. It really just depends on your individual journey, but I really do believe that one person has to push forward. Otherwise, this is the kind of connection that does get friend zoned, because I see that you're dealing with someone who's very focused on themselves in terms of their healing and helping other people. So with that kind of mission, life's mission, there is a lot of room for misinterpreting, interest as, oh, they just need me to help them. That's what it kind of feels like. And I do think with this Knight of Cups, the romance does build and it comes later, and it takes that one brave person to put their hand up and go, like, I have feelings for you. Do you have feelings for me too? Because this approach feels shy, tentative, and as though it comes after there is a level of respect and trust between the two of you. From that moment, with the Knight of Coins here, your relationship may be one that is at a distance, or maybe one that challenges you to lead lifestyles that are very unconventional. I see that there is still a heavy focus on career and attaining physical accolades in this lifetime, whether it's recognition, achievements, or just milestones. There's this idea of focusing on your material world as well with this relationship. It's quite possible that the two of you are leading an unconventional relationship where you really support each other, and whatever career goals you have, or financial goals you have, or study goals you have. But there seems to be this focus on financial or physical freedom. Not for the sake of we just can't live together, we're we're too intense when we're together. It's not like that at all. It's more like there seems to be a traveling salesman over here with the Knight of Coins, someone who needs that flexible lifestyle. And with the Knight of Coins reversed, it's very possible that you're both trialing a style of relationship with each other that you haven't had before. So I do firmly think like this Knight of Coins is just asking for flexibility and to remain focused on whatever like material goals they have. And I don't think that this is like a one-sided thing, but I do think that it's something that's going to require compromise and a lot of conversations, because somebody enters this relationship with like they already have a plan that they want to continue following. So it's kind of like, well, yeah, I have feelings for you and I want to see where this goes, but in order to get there, like I need to feel like I can still go follow this plan, this dream, this goal that I've had before I met you or before I decided to be with you. That's what it kind of feels like. So it requires compromise and flexibility. And I do think that it pays off. So I do see it's something that, like, if you're the one that's being asked to be flexible, you're going to want to be supportive of. But with the Nine of Coins here, it is very likely that this is a relationship that may not last forever, or that may go through many phases, because this main focus of this relationship seems to be individuality in a way, and independence, financial independence specifically. So it's very likely that this is the kind of relationship that goes like friendships, romance, maybe like not in a, what's the word? Tumultuous way, you know, because you have those really on and off again relationships that are very volatile. I don't feel it's like a volatile relationship. I just firmly believe that this is a relationship that's like the main focus isn't the romance, although that's definitely there. It's more so like how can you continue to grow and inspire each other to grow. So I do think that for most of you, getting together is going to be difficult, and maybe staying together could be tricky because you have your own plans and they do too. So you may constantly go through moments where you're like, oh, let's just let go of each other, and if it's meant to be, we'll come back again. So for some of you, you've already been knowing this person, you know, like they're already in your life. But for others of you, being flexible is what keeps your relationship going. The fact that you can love this person while letting them grow in their own way keeps the relationship going and enables the two of you to be successful. It's not conventional. In fact, a lot of other people may have a lot to say and may whisper in your ear and say, like, are you happy? Are you actually happy? Are you worried about what they're doing? And you just got to kind of stand by how well you know your person and each other and say, like, nah, like this is literally like the snake tempting Eve, depending on your religion. So with this bottom deck energy being the Queen of Pentacles, I see that there's a small portion of you who, like, the flexibility of this relationship, being flexible and compromising and communicative towards each other and staying grounded in what you want in this lifetime and how this relationship's development can continue to help you get what you want, it could eventually lead to a marriage. And I do think that that union will be very unconventional in the sense of like y'all could still be living in different places, you know, with that Knight of Pentacles reversed. Or maybe this whole traveling business was temporary, and if you just ride out those intermediate years, you know that you're going to have a wonderful future with this person. But it does feel like that's only for a small number of you. I think that for most of you, this is the kind of relationship that will definitely encourage you to focus on yourself and inspire you to be more goal-orientated in some way. It's so interesting that we have this emotional, spiritual development of this person, and yet they inspire you in a material way to really just look at your material living, your material lifestyle, your material goals, and stay more grounded and more aware of what you're capable of and what you do want to achieve in this lifetime. It's almost like what it kind of gives me the vibes of is like when you have a near-death incident, and it really grounds you and humbles you in this existence distance and makes you want to take advantage of all your opportunities and what life is giving you in front of you. It makes you want to embrace every second, every minute, every hour of every day. That's what this relationship feels like. So it's a very interesting situation, to say the least. I might just get some advice. And which card should I use, Spirit? Which deck? Actually, let's get some channel messages first, because I'm interested to hear about this person from them. Spirit, what does this person want to say to group 1? Can we get some channeled messages from their higher self? What does group 1's next relationship partner want to say to them? Hi. Oh, this is not the best card to get. I lie and I cheat and I overdrink. I tend to overeat and I'm just living for the weekend. I do what I do best. I'll show you how to lose. 99 bottles by pissed idiots. What does this person want to say to group 1, please, Spirit? What is their higher self? I love, heart chakra, anahata, healing, peace, empathy, love. What does this person want to say? Healer, hot tub dream machine by Toby Lou. I need a hot tub time machine, then I can go back and fix everything. Same old you, but a different me. Maybe we can be human beings. Healer. What does this person's higher self want group 1 to know about this person? Muladhara, I am, start, foundations, grounded, stable, root chakra, lam. Bottom deck energy is Euphoria by Senra. When I'm inside you, euphoria. When you look at me like that, euphoria. When you ask about me, euphoria. You know, you already know. Ecstasy. So listen, this is an interesting energy. Self-loathing is honestly a card that is the tip of the iceberg of this person's sort of inner world, in the sense of, I think that this is the kind of person who may struggle with their mental health, who may go through bouts of depression. And I say may because obviously I'm not a mental health professional, I'm just here reading energy, so this is really just a general reading, take what resonates. But I do think that because of their upbringing and what they've experienced in this lifetime, as well as through the experiences in their DNA from their ancestors, this may be someone who has struggles with their mental health and who could go through low moods, low episodes. I think that despite that, they use their heavy feelings to heal themselves and others. They use their heavy empathy, their sense of feeling one another, being connected to the collective to really help other people heal their pain and move forward. I think that this is someone that doesn't like to live with regrets. They do like to stay grounded. They absolutely are the kind of person that has goals, for sure. I think they're also a very sensual person, though. I feel like they're also a very loving person. Although they've been hurt, I feel like this is someone that has a lot of love to give. I think that this person will have a lot of love for you, group 1. They will constantly be trying to make their intentions clear to you in an empathetic way, because I do think that this is someone that has masculine and feminine qualities, so they're going to want to finish what they started or what they set out to do, and they're going to try to empathetically explain that to you throughout your relationship. I don't think this is someone who would be obsessed with you, sweets, but they'll have so much love for you. They'll be obsessed with achieving something in their lifetime. And I mean that in like a positive way, because I think that this would be a very suitable relationship for those who are looking for space and freedom to create and explore the world themselves, It doesn't mean that y'all are going to be physically apart for the rest of your lives. There is going to be a period, though, where you seem to have a distance and you seem to focus more on your individual goals instead of creating together. I do think that this person has a healing ability on you and in your life, and I think that they will introduce you to a very different world through their eyes. With ecstasy here, there is going to be a strong physical attraction between the two of you. It's going to be really pull y'all together initially, and I think that the trickiest part about your relationship is staying grounded and creating something that is what you both want, which is where that compromise will come into play. And it may be a very difficult thing to ground for as long as you listen to what other people tell you you should do or what society expects you to do. This doesn't feel like the kind of relationship that everybody gets into. It finds very specific people for very specific reasons. And the more that you try to make sense of it in a conventional way, the more you might feel oppressed by it, if that makes sense. But I sense that overall it's supposed to be a very flexible situation that will appeal to you for as long as you have your other goals and things that you want to do. It kind of feels like a serious relationship that may find you at a time when you just want to do other things and live other things and experience other things. It could be a case of right person, wrong time that comes back around, you know. This is talking about your next relationship though, sweet. So if you've already experienced part of this journey with someone, then it's very possible this reading is serving as confirmation that y'all are coming back around for a more of a grounding experience here. This is also the kind of group that I would assume would have more than one group, if that makes sense. You may have messages in other groups because it feels like a lot of this relationship is challenging. And so with your free will, you may choose to not invest your energy into it, if that makes sense. You may choose to pursue other more stable or specifically grounded conventional relationships as well. So let's close your reading by getting some advice. I might actually get some advice from this deck. Group 1, please, Spirit. What advice do you have for them when it comes to this relationship? What advice do you have for Group 1 when it comes to this relationship? Oh. Okay, so for most of you, that patience, that flexibility definitely leads to marriage. This relationship is supposed to help you continue growing in the way that you planned and set out to do. Spirit is indicating like structure and career here mostly with the 10th house, but I could see this as marriage eventually. I feel like you're being encouraged when it comes to this relationship to really not lose sight of your long-term goals. This is the kind of situation where the attraction between the two of you, if only one person is focused on that and the other person is still grounded in what they want to do, then you may feel like you're in an unhealthy dynamic, and that's only because your interests or your ideas about this relationship are no longer shared, right? And that's the case with any relationship. If you and your partner have different ideas about what you're doing and where you're going, then it does become an unhealthy situation, and that's something that you need to both communicate and work on if you want to continue. I feel like your relationship is going to have a strong focus on career and structuring your futures in a very specific way. Someone here may have a very strong purpose of helping other people grow, and they're not going to want to give that up for their own selfish needs, even if those selfish needs are a beautiful relationship with you. So I feel like when you know this kind of person well, it's hard to make them feel guilty for it, because I do think that you'll end up in a relationship with a healer, with someone who can have a profound impact in this lifetime and who wants you love unconditionally. It's going to be hard for you to say, no, you can't do that, because you can see how important this kind of work is for them. The other thing about your relationship is that the feelings, I feel, could come on strongly and then could wane at times, but I do sense that they are transformative and generally run deep. This is the kind of person who you will have love for and respect for the rest of your life, even if you choose to separate. You know, it feels like this is a relationship that transforms you, your emotional capacity, and how you look at relationships as well. This is a different kind of love. For most of you, Group 1, you haven't experienced a relationship like this before. So your advice is to really stay connected to your feelings throughout this, to understand what your feelings are trying to tell you, to stay connected to your fears. And I'm also hearing to not feel afraid to communicate those things to this person, because this is one of the most understanding partners that you'll probably ever have. They will always make time for you, your feelings, your fears, your anger, your jealousy, whatever it is. As long as you're staying connected to them and able to communicate them, this person will always listen. I feel there's so much empathy in this relationship. There's a lot of understanding, and there's a genuine desire to make sure that you're feeling heard and seen. So make sure you're staying connected to your feelings and communicating them when you want to, basically, or when you need to. With Trine or Trine reversed, I feel like you do inspire each other, but there's also a lot of individual work at play here. This relationship is something that was intended for you, but it doesn't mean that that's supposed to be the main focus in either of your lives. I do sense that this is something that you support each other, but you don't need to be an active role in each other's success, if that makes sense. Like, the best thing you could do for each other is just love each other and cheer each other on from the sidelines. This isn't someone that wants you to do what they want to do. Like, they're not expecting you, like, just because I do this, you have to do this too. But this is someone who will always cheer you on and support you, and they do hope for the same from you. They don't expect you, for example, to give you an analogy, if this is a church-going person, they don't expect you to wake up at 7 o'clock on a Sunday and get ready for church with them. But they do expect you to respect their beliefs and to respect their need to operate in that way. You know, just to give you an example, this is someone who would want your support, but they don't expect you to live like them. So group 1, that is what I'm seeing for you when it comes to your next relationship. I wasn't expecting messages like this. What an interesting age of Aquarius we live in. It's been a pleasure to read for you, group 1. I'm going to take this into the extended now. Just to recap, in the extended reading, we're going to be looking at your next relationship in terms of when it will be happening, how it's going to happen in terms of union for you, especially because there's that Tower moment in the beginning. We'll have a look at how union comes about for you, and we're also going to be looking at why the two of you are in each other's lives. And I think that will be helpful for your group, because you're probably like, well, why? If we're not supposed to be this way and that way, like, why? What is the purpose? So we're also going to get channeled messages from your person, and if needed, I'll get more advice, but I don't think we'll need to. I think the topics we're covering should be something that includes advice along the way. So if you'd like to join me, the extended reading is in the description box next to group 1. The link is there. I do want to thank you for all of your support before you go wherever you're going, for all of your support here on YouTube. Thank you so much for supporting me, for supporting this community, and for supporting free tarot on YouTube in general. It's been so lovely to have you here. Thank you to our spiritual teams, angels, ancestors, and guides for helping me channel these messages, and for keeping me safe while doing so, and I shall connect with you in another video. Bye! Hi group 2, and welcome. If you chose this moon card over here, then this is going to be your extended reading. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So lovely to have you here. Now, I just realized I said extended reading. I'm getting way ahead of myself. This is the first portion of your reading, which isn't technically the extended, but we'll have an extended for your group. So don't worry, I didn't get it mixed up. This is definitely the first part of your reading, group 2. We're asking Spirit today I guess all about your next relationship. So really focusing more on who and what over here. On the YouTube portion, we're going to also get some advice and some channeled messages from the person who you'll be experiencing this relationship with. And there will be an extended as well, which is why I got a little mixed up. Now, group 2, if you chose this moon card, your relationship is going to be very deep. It's going to be a very emotional one. It's one that you are going to feel very intuitively connected to your person. It feels like either this is the kind of relationship that the two of you you start by forming a really strong emotional bond together. I was hearing like specifically like a deep and meaningful conversation is what gets this off the ground, but I really feel like the two of you are going to connect to each other's emotional being. I also have a feeling with this moon card here that this is someone who is going to really honor the more feminine aspects of your personality. I think that what that means is when I look at the moon, I look at like someone who's very intuitive, someone who's very empathetic, someone who is very calm, only in the sense of trying to come from a place of feeling connected to their feelings and being aware of what their feelings are. So it feels like this could be a relationship that tests your patience and your communication style, because the shadow aspects of a moon energy is someone who's very closed off, someone who struggles with their feelings, someone who internalizes a lot of things, who gets stuck in their head often, and someone who is very kind of dreamy in the sense of they rather just sort of internalize and fantasize and ruminate instead of speaking. So it's very possible that for a lot of you this relationship could start off like as an infatuation, someone who like it, and for some of you it's the other person having like a crush on you for a while before it actually hits off. So I do sense like this powerful attraction, and I just kind of feel like with the moon here there is like a turning point in this relationship, and that turning point is like a deep and meaningful emotional conversation. So let's put that down. I've got my notes here next to me to kind of help me keep up with this reading and where we're at, and just to make sure that I'm staying on schedule because this is going to be a juicy reading. So we got a lot to cover. We're going to start with, I think we'll start with who. I find that to be helpful because we're kind of like getting a fair understanding of this person's personality, and that can help us understand the relationship better and separate your energies. So Spirit, oops, excuse me. There we go. My cards. All right, group 2, please, Spirit. Who will they be in a relationship with next? Oops. We have the Crone. Who will group 2 be in a relationship with next? We have the Sustainer. Okay. Who will group 2 be in a relationship with next? Oops. Who will group 2 be in a relationship with next? We have the One. Also, my fingers, these are just little temporary tattoo things that I was trying out because I do want them done. So just, yeah, they're fading. I feel like I have to update you guys because you only see my hands. So if something changes with my hands, I feel like I really need to like explain. Oh, group 2, please, Spirit. Who will they be in a relationship with next? Oh, hello. We have the comic coming out for you as well, group 2. Don't mind that at all. Are we taking these two? Spirit, who will group 2 be in a relationship with next? We also have the Forest. Wow. So I'm in a very chill energy, if you can't tell. I've been like taking my time with this reading because it's going to be a juicy one. So I like to come with the right energy for each of the groups, and especially because there's extended readings. So I like to take my time. And I think that's kind of what your person's energy is like too, sweets. They're a bit of a slower energy. They're someone who appreciates the idea of longevity instead of coming in quick and fast. So they strike me as someone who is a bit softer, and internally they may have a front, and their front could be humor, and that may make them look loud and make them look a certain way, but I feel like they're actually a very soft individual, literally like this. Look at this like moldable clay in here, and then we've got these hands kind of shaping it. That's them. They're kind of like sometimes very protective of this side of themselves. So if they show anybody that softer side of themselves, it's a big deal. I feel like this is someone who likes to come strong in a relationship in the sense of They want a relationship that can be a safe place, and they consider whoever they're dating or whoever they're in a relationship with to kind of be their like partner. But I feel like it's more that they have this softer side of themselves that they bring to the relationship that they don't have anywhere else to share. So this is someone that could be a part of like a larger friend group, or have like a lot of siblings or just a lot of people around them. And even then, only like 1 or 2 people in this person's life really knows the true side of them. I feel like this is someone who's very wise with the crone here. That's the number 13 too. So they're wise because of pain that they've been through in the past. They have lived experience. This is someone who may not, necessarily have gone to university or college, but they are an incredibly wise person because of their lived experience and what they've had to overcome in their life. I feel like this is someone who has experience with like trauma or just mental health, either through themselves or through a loved one that they've looked after or supported emotionally. And it's just kind of helped them be a more empathetic and kind person. This is a very kind person. Like, they care deeply. And I feel like that's the side of them that they don't want everybody to see. The sustainer here makes me think that they have somewhat traditional ideas of how they should present in a relationship. They feel like they should be the provider or the carer in some way. And I think that these roles are very much linked to their gender. Like, there's something quite traditional about that. They have to show up a certain way, they have to act a certain way, and they have to be a certain way. So I think that this is someone who, like, without even saying, they will just assume that role with you and step up into that role with you. I also have a feeling that this person, the way that they'll get to know you, test the waters with you, is through humor. Like, that's kind of how they meet people. They test them out by saying things and seeing if they react, and then they slowly get into heavier conversations to really see how compatible you are emotionally. This is someone who is a romantic at heart as well, with the 1 here. They're looking for their one, their soulmate, their happily ever after, that one person who they feel will get them. And I feel like this has led them to experiencing circumstances where they may have struggled to let go of people because they were hoping that that would who they were, and that didn't happen. So if you're sort of in your if you're a little bit, I don't even want to say, it's not got nothing to do with age. I just feel like regardless of like age, this person has always wondered like who their person is and who their one is. And I think that they won't project that into your connection, but that's something that they'll be thinking about when they kind of test the waters with you with humor and trying to figure out like how significant you are of a person in their life and whether you are the one for them. I feel like this is, again, a very patient person, and they have like a family orientated side to them. So that for some of you, they could have children, or you could have children. I just get with the forest here that there's this nurturing side to them. And it could just be that you meet them at a time when they want kids, and they're looking at how they can grow better and how they can be better for their children. That's what it kind of feels like. Is there anything else they need to know about this person, Spirit? Group 2, who will they be in a relationship with next? Yeah, Spirit saying water signs are significant for your group, and I am getting earth. It really doesn't necessarily matter because the main aspects have to do with, like, they're very patient, understanding, empathetic. They will test the waters with you. They have a front, which is kind of like a humorous joker side, but they're actually a very soft person internally. They've got lived experience, which has made them wise, and this has come with pain as well. They have a lot of people around them, but not a lot of people know this person very, very well. They are a romantic person at heart, and they are looking for their one. I feel like they have traditional ideas about their role in a relationship, and they're going to assume that role without you saying anything. That's just how they come forward. And I think your relationship with them really takes a positive turn into a meaningful space the more open and honest you are about your feelings. And this includes your fears. Any issues you're going through, this is someone who wants to know. Not because they want to fix everything, but because they want to be more connected to you. They want to be more aware of what you've got going on under the surface. So they love deep and meaningful conversations. So now we're going to have a look at what your next relationship will be. And this will just help us understand your dynamic with this person better and the relationship better. So group 2, please, Spirit. What is group 2's next relationship? I'm using the True Black deck today because it shows up pretty well on this camera. So we're going to use it. Group 2, please, Spirit. What will group 2's next relationship be? What can you tell us about group 2's next relationship? What can you tell us about group 2's next relationship, Spirit? Oh. What can you tell us about group 2's next relationship? They're showing us Capricorn, Taurus now. What can you tell us about group 2's next relationship, Spirit? Oh, sorry, I'm getting excited. We have the 3 of Pentacles as your bottom deck energy. Let me show you that. I'm trying to say chill, but I'm not going to lie. I'm actually quite excited for you. Oh, I'm so susceptible, hey? Like, I sometimes take like days off between readings, between like channeling energy, and then I come back in and I'm just like excited all over again. So the first 2 cards that came out for you was this 8 of Swords and this Queen of Pentacles. So there is strong Capricorn Taurus energy here, but we also have that water over here. So the next 3 cards that came out, we have the Hierophant and we also have the Ace of Swords. I'm going to show you them closer because when I talk about them, they can be a bit far away from the camera. So I do want you to see the cards just in case there's any hints or symbolism in the card, maybe confirmation that you were looking for personally, or that you need to ensure that you've picked the right group. Sometimes that helps. I do that too. I'll be like, if there's a butterfly, this is my group. So we'll show you the last card. We have the Page of Cups here as well. So this is giving me that watery energy, a little bit of, what have we got at the start there? Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. So wow, for most of you, your relationship can only flourish if you foster a friendly relationship with this person as well. Like, there could be chemistry, there could be romance, this could be a wonderful person in terms of like physically it fits the description of someone that you usually date. However, they are someone who is seeking more of an emotional connection. And so this is the kind of person that you constantly need to check in with and make sure that you're voicing your feelings to them, because they're going to feel like they're being too sensitive sometimes, and they may feel like they're pushing you too much sometimes. So if you don't sort of say to them like, oh, have you noticed like I've been in a bit of a mood, sorry, it's because this happened at work, or I found out this happened with my parents, or I'm actually going through this right now with my friends. Like, they pick up on this stuff with you intuitively, but they don't pry. And for as long as that emotional distance is there, your relationship with this person will suffer, because they'll know that something's wrong, but they'll be questioning like, why don't they feel safe enough to tell me, or why aren't they opening up to me? Why are they pulling away from me? And this is an overthinker. This is giving me Scorpio Pisces vibes now. This is someone who's like just overthinking the worst instead of like actually saying to you like, listen, I know you're down, what's going on? They won't want to pry, especially in the beginning. So what I'm seeing here with the 8 of Swords in the reverse position is that many of you may assume that this person isn't as interested in you as you are in them initially. For some of you, this conversation, this relationship just comes out of the blue. You're aware of them, but you're not necessarily expecting things to get this serious. And with this 8 of Swords reversed, it's very likely that someone, either you or this person, assumes that the other person doesn't like them back. and they just kind of like keep that interest but at a distance. I feel like your relationship needs to be very open and honest in order to be successful. Otherwise, there's always going to be that one person that assumes the worst and feels like a victim. And I think that all of that can easily go away with a simple conversation. Even if it's not a deep and meaningful, it could just be like, wow, I had the worst day at work. Your person will be like, oh, that makes sense. I wondered why you weren't talking to me all afternoon. And you'll be like, why didn't you say something? And this person will say, I didn't want to make you angrier. And it's just a complete misunderstanding. But yeah, all it takes is 2 seconds. It's crazy. It's like I'm looking at like and from a higher perspective. It doesn't need to be as silly as it is. And I think that this is secretly what you want, or you're just not aware of how like emotionally connected to you this person is. Maybe you're so used to internalizing and just not sharing your problems with people. Maybe you're used to being very closed off and dealing with your own crap yourself. But this person's like, it's not crap, it's real issues, and I want to be there to support you. I'm not going to pretend to be able to fix all your problems, but I want to at least be that person that you can talk to. So you're going to realize that very soon, very early on in your relationship. It's going to come about through some sort of minor misunderstanding that forces you to see like how much this person wants to be kept in the loop with you as a support person. Next, over here with the Queen of Pentacles, I feel like this is someone that has that traditional type role, right, in a relationship, which is also shown with the Hierophant. They're going to show you that they are seriously interested in you early on, and this is going to be displayed through loyalty and commitment. If they say they're going to do something, they're going to be there. If they can't, they'll explain. This is someone who is accountable and responsible. So I feel like they're going to make it obvious to you from the beginning, like you're the only person I'm seeing right now, or that's how they show you that they're serious about you, is like they might say to you like, yeah, you're the only one I'm seeing, or I really like, maybe they don't necessarily know how to word it actually. But I feel like this is a sentimental person, and quality time is like how they show you that they're interested. So I feel like this is someone who would make room for you. And if they're starting to want to spend a lot of free time with you, like that's how you know they're very serious about you. They may even buy you a gift or something. It may not be the most expensive thing, but you could have said to them like, you know what, I've been trying to find toilet paper for the last 2 weeks. I don't know what's going on. People are panic buying. I can't get any toilet paper, and this person will be like, here, I picked you up a pack on my lunch break, like I saw the store had some, and you'll be like, oh my gosh, that's hilarious, thank you. But it's a big deal because it shows that this person has you on their mind a lot, and they're listening to what you're saying, and they're wanting to be attentive as well. So a little hint there as to who this person is. That's a massive hint actually, because I think that's also a part of their love language. They like those, what is it called? Like gestures and quality time. I don't know the love language as well. I did a reading on it once, but I still don't know them well. Over here with the Hierophant, I feel like this person is going to want to kind of take the more traditional route with your relationship. This is the kind of person that would want to make that obvious sign of like, we're dating, we're official, and so on and so forth, like hit those milestones in a traditional sense. They're not just going to want to slip into it. They're going to want to make it kind of more obvious and start calling you like, yeah, you're my boyfriend, girlfriend, partner, etc. I also think with the Hierophant that this is someone that may like to celebrate anniversaries and things like that. So you might just be like chilling one evening at their place, and then they come out with like a gift or like this amazing dinner, and they'll say to you like, oh, happy 3 months anniversary. You're like, what? It's 3 months already. Like, I didn't even know like we celebrate that. So just be aware, like that's the kind of person that they are. I feel like they like to kind of take traditional roles, or if your relationship coincides with Valentine's Day, for example, or something like that, I feel like they'll want to do something. It's just kind of that idea of, yeah, celebrating it in a more traditional sense and celebrating your relationship as well. I think that's definitely who your person is. Now, the other thing about the Hierophant is the sentimental energy coming back. So a huge step in this relationship is this person introducing you to the people that matter to them, whether that's friends, family, children. Introducing you to their inner circle is a huge step. And it's something that this person doesn't do often with other people that they're interested in. It's only those that they're very serious about that they do that with. They like to keep that aspect of their lives separate and sacred. So if you come in and meet their inner circle, it means you're a part of their inner circle now. And I have a feeling that you may know this person through other people as well, with the Three of Pentacles as your bottom deck energy. It's like you either know this person from school or work, or you know their family or friends from that place. Like it's kind of like the second degree, right? Like somebody you know knows this person, or you know of this person through someone else. With the Ace of Swords here, I think that you're going to have to kind of be on your toes, especially if you're not usually observant and communicative in relationships. If you usually just kind of coast through and you're very easygoing, this is someone who you have to like kind of be aware of, because they ruminate and they overthink at times, and they're very connected to you. So if they feel your emotions shift and change, they're going to overthink that, and they're going to assume that they did that for some reason. They're going to be like, well, why are they upset? And for some of you, I'm making them sound like you have to walk on eggshells, and I don't mean that. They're not that kind of person, but they're just very aware, and they don't want to make things worse by constantly voicing and saying like, oh, I thought you were mad at me. You're like, why are you angry? Type of thing. So I feel like with this Ace of Swords, it's kind of like showing you new ways to communicate and them new ways to communicate, because they shouldn't just be internalizing either. But I feel like that's the challenge of this relationship, is just keeping communication open and staying consistent and thinking of new ways to talk about these things without making a huge deal out of it and without people getting angry or upset. I don't see you having arguments with this person at all. I feel like they're just a lot more emotional than even they realize until you come in, and where they expect you to be the emotional one, you're not. And so they're realizing like, wow, this whole time I was the emotional one, what the heck? So it's an interesting relationship, and you're very different for each other. And yet you're very similar at your cores, if that makes sense. Like your love languages may be different, and the way that you present yourselves may be different, but at your core, I feel like you have kind of manifested each other, if that makes sense. Over here with the Page of Cups, I feel like this person, I don't know, it's kind of like giving me that friendly energy again of testing the waters with you and trying to make sure that you want what they want, or that you're emotionally open like they are. I feel like with this Page of Cups, your person is the one who's always quick to apologize, or they're going to be the one in the relationship who's really like testing the waters with you. Maybe they're the one instigating the serious conversations. Like maybe they're the one who's really prying about your past and noticing that you haven't really spoken to a lot of people about what you've been through. It just kind of feels like your relationship tests both of you emotionally, and with this Page of Cups, you both still have a lot of emotional learning to do with each other. I feel like this Page of Cups is also saying like they are someone who they don't intend to kind of just trigger you, but I think that they do also offer you this opportunity to communicate and explore your feelings in a way that, again, you don't have the chance to in many instances. So this relationship is really one that is built off a strong emotional friendship as well. Y'all definitely know each other's people somehow, and the relationship takes a serious turn, especially when they start to include you in their bigger plans and wanting to spend all of their free time with you. They are someone who values their time, so any spare time that they spend is literally like planned for and carefully decided. So that is a huge symbol. This is also a very loyal person, a reliable and accountable person. So they aren't someone who's just going to cancel without telling you. They're going to make sure that they honor you. And I feel like this is also how you know that they're serious about you from the beginning. Meeting their inner circle will really show you that this person is like intending to keep you around for a long time, because they're basically saying like, you're one of the few people on this earth that I would die for. Like, that's how traditional they are. And it's also saying that they consider you to be marriage material, or whatever role, traditional role they take in society. They also are someone that is going to challenge your communication style, but in a positive way. And I think you'll really challenge them to be more connected to their voice, not so much their feelings, because they are someone that internalizes a lot of things, which is why your relationship starts off with someone feeling like they don't stand a chance, and like they're just going to take a stab in the dark and hope that, you know, the other person also is interested in them. It turns out they were, because that's how this relationship starts. So let us get some channel messages, and then we'll get some advice for you. Group 2, please, Spirit. What does this person want to say to Group 2? What does this person want to say to Group 2? Oh, we have Believe by Cher. Cher, get in here. I think it's Cher. Cher or Cher? Cher, get in here. I'm trying to do it from bloody Clueless. It's so sad that you're leaving. It takes time to believe it, but after all is said and done, you're going to be the lonely one. Oh, do you believe in life after love? Vigilance. Yeah, this person will not give up. Once you're in with someone like this, it would take them a lot to let go, because I feel like they will invest a lot of emotions into you and a lot of like character development for you. We also have Muladhara. I am the root chakra. Start foundations grounded, stable. So yeah, I do think that maybe for some of you, this is someone who you may overlook, in the sense of, in the beginning, you're just going to be like, oh, this is cool. Like, they're showing me their friends and their family. Okay, cool. Not realizing like that's a huge deal, and that it means that this person is like seriously interested in you. Or they start talking about their family and stuff, and you're like, oh, like, do they just think I'm a friend? But no, like, it's a big deal. It kind of feels like this relationship starts on solid ground, and you shouldn't overthink their actions, because I have a feeling that they are trying to be very straightforward with you, but maybe again your love languages are different, so what they're saying and doing feels either too good to be true, or you're just overthinking it all and second guessing it. But I do think that your relationship starts on fairly solid ground together, with root chakra coming out. Like, intentions are laid from the beginning. Group 2, please, Spirit. What else does this person's higher self want to say to them about their relationship? Why is my mouth making all these noises? What else does their higher self want to say to them? Oh, pensive. Didn't know I got a call before. Honestly, you didn't see the best in me. It feels like you're mocking me. And now I've gone off so far away, a castaway. Yeah. Your higher self and this person's higher self is like, please don't pay no mind. But my energy, my thoughts are very heavy at times. So I feel like I didn't even know I was rhyming. I feel like, yeah, we already know that. They have the tendency to ruminate and overthink. And this pensive really proves that they often think of the worst case scenario before it comes out. Me, can you focus on me? Baby, can you focus on me? Stuck on your phone and you're in your zone. You don't have a clue, baby. I just want you to get up. Focused by her. So with this song, I'm clearly noticing now. Sorry, we were just cut off by the camera, but I turned it back on. I'm clearly noticing now that this could be someone who many of you would consider to be a clingier type. Maybe you're used to partners who just kind of leave you alone and like don't care too much about what you're doing or what you're up to or how your day's gone. Or it's just been a while since you've had someone like that. But that's what this person is like. They're going to want to ask you about your day and be very invested in the relationship. So It could come across as someone who's very clingy or just someone who's very attentive in a way that you're not used to. But I feel like if you don't ask them these things, they'll assume that you've just got a lot on your plate, but it will like be a silent stab in their heart. Like, oh, why didn't this person ask me how my day was? And I'm only laughing because I'm totally that person, so I can relate. And I think that that's just something to be mindful of, right? They put on a front, they may act loud and distracted at times, but actually they're very soft, they're very emotional, so don't forget to check in. Anything else that group 2 needs to know from this person's higher self about this relationship? Hi, more yellow. Oh, this is a nice energy. Joy. I want you to hold me. Come and lay with me. Set aside your problems with me, baby. You turn my 6s to 9s. Frequently fly. We can't deny. Know this feeling tonight. This is such a good song. 6s to 9s by Big Wild, if it'll focus. Such a good song. So I sense a lot of joy here. I sense like memories being created between the 2 of you and just a lot of joyful moments. Like it's not necessarily what you do, it's how you spend your time with this person. And I do really think with the comic here that they are someone that really makes you laugh. And they are someone that can raise your mood and just give you that grounded sense of like purpose through this connection. Look at this bottom deck energy I love. This could be a genuine soulmate sort of connection. Someone who is here to really connect with you in this lifetime and encourage you to be more connected. Sometimes when we get too elevated or we start to think on too grand of a scheme, we lose sight of those human needs, which are connection, love, and our relationships as well. So I really feel like there's a lot of healing with someone like this. There is a lot of empathy and understanding and a lot of room for love too from the beginning. I feel like this is someone who would wear their heart on their sleeve and who probably never realized how emotional they were until they kind of met a counterpart who was not as emotional. I think especially if their gender is more masculine, then they might have just assumed that oh, everyone's like this, and then they meet a feminine who's actually got masculine traits, and they realize okay, I'm the more emotional one. Wow. So let's get some advice, Spirit. What advice do you have for group 2 watching this reading when it comes to this relationship? I'm sensing 2 cards because there's 2 groups. Some of y'all have already met this person. You're just yet to ground. You're in that stage of not knowing if they reciprocate feelings. And others of you have not met this person yet. So for those who have met this person, actually this is ongoing. This is ongoing advice. So first of all, the moon's coming back with turquoise to tell us that communicating our feelings is what is going to be most important to a person like this. They will value, honor, and cherish that. They will understand that it takes a vulnerable, strong person to do these things, and they admire those qualities in someone. So that's a quick way to win this person over, being honest, being open, and staying vocal and connected. This is also a very patient person, so simply communicating the fact that you're struggling to communicate your feelings will help them understand you better and give you the space and patience that you need in order to get into that more empathetic side to you. A lot of clarity will be had from this person because they are someone who will be honest with you if you ask the questions. If you ask the right questions, this person will always give you the answers honestly and openly. So I do think that for most of you, it's really about communicating feelings and these thoughts, however heavy they are, however big they are, or however scary it seems. This is someone who will always be honest and open with you in return. Now for the red jasper over here, this is interesting. I don't know which side of the fence this fits on, but the main message, in terms of whether you've met this person or not, the main advice that I'm getting with this is about balancing your feminine and masculine qualities of I can, I will, and I am. So it's kind of this idea of it's not always about plowing ahead. Sometimes it's about slowing down and understanding the space that you're currently in rather than where you desire to be. So how that kind of translates to this person and this relationship is that a lot of you may overlook someone like this because they can't move quickly at your level, especially if you're in this creation mode where you're trying to plow ahead into the life that you want through the actions that you're currently taking. Maybe you're manifesting and you're being very active right now. I'm kind of being told that you need to slow down and feel where you're currently at with this person, because I feel like these masculine qualities is what helps this relationship ground. It's what helps someone have the courage to actually ask the other person and to instigate a conversation and really show interest. But at the same time, in order for that change to effectively happen, right, not just kind of come in a whirlwind of energy and leave quickly, in order for you to effectively enact that change and that meeting, I do think that you need to stay receptive and connected to your present circumstances and not get too ambitious and too forward thinking. So I hope that's helpful advice for those who are trying to ground something with this person, or for those who believe they already know this person, they just don't know them like that. I feel like this is about really being opportunistic and aware of your present moments and acting accordingly. It's not just about making a plan for the future. It's about staying connected to your present moment, knowing when to act versus when to wait, and staying receptive as well with that feminine energy. You don't have to be the one to make everything happen all the time. Sometimes all you got to do is sit still long enough for these things to come your way. So that's what I'm seeing for you, group 2. I hope that was helpful advice. I hope that was a helpful reading for you. It's been a pleasure. Your reading just lit me up, and I can understand why now. You've got all this joy down here. So group 2, I'm going to take your reading into the extended now. In your extended reading, we're going to look at your next relationship in terms of when this is happening. And for those of you, I'm going to split this up. So we'll look at when you'll come into union, and how I do time frames is looking at your life as a whole, like your circumstances, what you're going through. And then we'll look at how it happens, how the two of you meet and come together. We'll also look at why. And this is going to focus more on why the two of you have come together, which we kind of tapped into here briefly. It's looking at how you influence each other's lives and why you're intended for union. Just kind of grand, bigger scheme or bigger picture things. We're going to get more channeled messages as well. So that'll be the extended reading. The link is in my description box. It's already ready. So all you have to do is click on the link when you're ready and join me there. Before you go, wherever you're going, I do want to thank you for your support here on YouTube. It's been a pleasure to read for you today. I want to thank our spiritual teams as well for helping me channel these messages and keeping me safe. And I shall connect with you very, very soon. Bye. Hi group 3 and welcome. If you chose this 5th house card over here, then this is going to be your reading. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now today, group 3, we're asking Spirit about your next relationship. There will be an extended reading for this reading, so it's going to be very in-depth over here on YouTube and in the extended. Just to recap, for this reading on YouTube, we're going to be looking at who your next relationship will be with, as well as what your next relationship will be like. I will be getting channeled messages and advice for you as well. So the channeled messages are going to be from your person's higher self to help us understand what you can expect with this relationship and potentially what else you need to know about it. There might be advice there too from their higher self. So, oh my days, to get into your reading, first of all, I'm using these little temporary tattoos on my fingers. I know y'all notice it. You only see my hands, so I feel like I need to explain when I do things to my hands. I'm probably going to get these soon, so I was just trying it out temporarily to see if I like it. But anyway, coming back to your reading, disclaimer aside, me and my disclaimers, if you chose this 5th house card, the first thing that I can tell you is that your next relationship is going to have a lot of romance, a lot of fun. And I feel like you'll be with someone who can really bring out a side of you that is quite joyful, potentially like more of like who you were when you were more innocent or younger, more youthful. It's like this idea of having constantly almost dating this person, if that makes sense, because they kind of bring about this fun presence. And I do sense a bit of anxiousness in that. Like, I feel like there's someone who you can goof off with, but I also think that at times you may feel like they bring about such an authentic side of you. Like, you know, when you're just laughing and then you forget like where you are and you're like, oh my God, was I laughing too loud? Like, I think that for some reason, because this person can just trigger such an authentic version of yourself, at times it might, like in hindsight, you might go, oh my gosh, that was a bit embarrassing, or I'm a bit insecure about that. Which is actually really cute. I feel like there may be a big emphasis, or like on the honeymoon side of your relationship, the more sort of dating side, if that makes sense. We'll see what tarot says as well, but I feel like this focus is more so on when y'all are dating, and I hope that the nature of that energy translates long term, but we'll really see what tarot says as well. Now I want you to have a look at this card closer, because it's covered in flowers that evoke strong feelings. A lot of the flowers that the creator of this deck chose are very like sexual, if I'm honest with you. They kind of closely resemble body parts, if you know what I mean. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, you can see there's so many different flowers on here and different plants. So see if anything resonates. Maybe you're looking for a specific sign or symbol that you picked the right group. It could have been on that card. Let's have a look at who this person is, shall we? Get a better look at their personality. Group 3, please, Spirit. Who will group 3 be in a relationship with next? Oh, hello. I want to take this one, shall we? Thanatos. It's a Grecian word. I can never pronounce. I'm terrible with my Greek. I'm trying to get there one day. I try to be really considerate when I'm pronouncing words in other languages. We have the castle as well. Who will group 3 be in a relationship with next, please, Spirit? Ooh, we're going to take it. The Kiss. It made me think of that Prince song. Yo, didn't kiss. Group 3, we also have the Offering. Stop. This is definitely someone who dates, you know, like it's a big deal asking you out, that first kiss. They might be a bit of a romantic. Oh, that's probably why we have the prayer as well. They got their little thing going on. They got their little belief system. What's the bottom deck energy? The Womb. Oh, wow. Yeah, so this is quite a sensual person. There's no surprise that I was showing you that card up close. They are a romantic person. They like romance. They like attraction. They are attracted to you. And I think that that's what kind of steers them when it comes to relationships. They want someone that they're physically attracted to. And then from there, they try to develop a connection through humor or through mutual interests. And I think that this is someone who is maybe... Listen, Thanatos is a heavy energy. So either this person is coming from a serious relationship that did not end the way that they wanted it to, or they're trying to evolve into a more serious relationship because they weren't taken seriously in the past. It kind of makes me want to just double check that word quickly, because there's something there that I'm missing. Spirit, can you please help me? The death instinct, yeah. It's more of like a Freudian theory. Obviously, that card and that word comes from Greek mythology, though, or Greek history, should I say. It just kind of, it makes me think that this person has a side to them that is completely opposite. I mean, we all do, right? We're very complex people, very complex beings, humans, but they have a side to them here that is kind of like laughing through the pain, you know? And I think either with this Thanatos that they've had like a rude awakening, something like that really forced them to start taking life more seriously, or that's just kind of who they are at their core. It reminds me of the kind of people who, like, if I don't smile, I'll cry. If I don't laugh, I'll cry. So, and I think that mentality takes this person on some pretty wild rides as well. Like, on an extreme side, I could see how someone like this would have some very, like, wild, thrill-seeking, adrenaline junkie experiences, you know, just to feel alive. And then on the minor side, I could see how this is someone who shoots their shot and doesn't miss on those chances because they want, at the end of the day, they want to take advantage of the opportunities they have. I'm specifically hearing you only get one shot, you only have one life. So it feels like this is someone who's really, like, very much a go-getter. They don't like to live with regrets. They like to create memories. They like to have experiences. They like to travel, is what I'm getting. They are someone who has this looming sense of mortality, though, like, and I think that that's a big part of who they are. But I think at the same time, they're not like this pessimistic person. I think they're very optimistic. They're very fun to be around. And they come across as someone who just tries to make the most out of their moments. It's just very interesting. It's a complex energy. And because you're I don't know if a lot of y'all picked this group, but it's hard to pinpoint. So you're going to be at different spectrums. Some of you, this is very much a thrill seeker, someone who likes more of these sort of adventure-based hobbies, you know, likes to live on the edge. And then for others of you, this is someone who simply wants to shoot their shot and make sure they don't die with regrets. You know, so I do sense that for all of you, this is the kind of person that would approach you, group 3, because once they're interested in you, they're not going to want to let that opportunity slip. They're going to reach out to you and make sure that they've done what they can to take advantage of the opportunities in front of them. I feel like this person treasures specific things and people in their life. Like, I would argue that they're not very physically attracted to a lot of things in this life, in the sense of, like, they're not sentimental about a home type of thing, or they may not necessarily care what car they drive. They're more attached to experiences and memories. But I do think that there are certain things in their life that hold value. Like, there may be that this person has a suit that they, you know, refuse to give up, and the suit, it could look very expensive and could be very different to their other wardrobe, but it might have been the suit that they wore to their graduation. It was the last time they saw their father, you know, like, there's a real specific reason as to why this person keeps their belongings and certain people in their life. So it kind of feels like this is someone who, I don't know, they give me this energy of, like, they could be a traveler even, or they could just be someone who has different values to a lot of people, because at their core, their values are the same, right? Like, respect others, don't hurt people, etc. But I do think that what they strive for in terms of achievements and success is very different to what a lot of people would think. It makes me kind of picture those quirky signs like Aquarius people, or like a really free-spirited Gemini, a Sagittarius, a Pisces who has no emotional attachment to their hometown, you know, who's just living in the wind. It feels like this person, yeah, mutable energy's coming up strongly, but it also just feels like this person is someone who's kind of wanting a bit more structure as well in the right ways. Like this Thanatos or Thanatos card, it makes me think of the fact that this web is the only thing really holding this together. You know, like if we think about death too much, we just kind of spiral. So this person, this relationship for them could be the only thing really holding them together at times, or certain connections to their world. Maybe they have a parental figure who they're really connected to. That could be the only thing holding them in their lives sometimes. And I feel like this person is quite comfortable talking about this and their morbid curiosities, for lack of a better word. Like, I don't sense that they're emotionally cut off. I feel like they're craving more of that. And I think that this is a romantic person, and to them, like, it's a no-brainer. This is something that I want. This is something I'm interested in. You're someone I'm interested in. I want to pursue this. Even if we die tomorrow, That's what it feels like. With the prayer here, it's very likely that this person's been kind of manifesting you, or that they have a specific belief system that they live by, whether they're religious or not. It feels that for some of you, they are very religious. And then for most of you, they just have like a belief system that they live by, a code that they live by. And I think that this person has like a close relationship with a parental figure that has really forged their identity. Excuse me for my phone, I apologize. Has really forged their identity and who they are today. And so getting to know that parental figure is going to really help you understand this person better, because they'll be able to paint a broader picture of like why they act this way and why they're like this. I feel like this is someone who, like, when they really care about you, they would give you everything, like the clothes off their back, to support you and to help you. And I think that in the past that's been against, like that's worked against them, that's been to their detriment, and they've lost a lot. But I think that at the end of the day, like, they don't have regrets about it, because they're not someone who's usually very attached to material things in that way. I feel like the funnest part of your relationship will be getting to know each other. I think this is someone who would want to create a lot of experiences and just do fun things with you, get to know you. I also think this is someone that would have a lot of hobbies and interests, because they're kind of like, you may as well try everything once type of thing. I feel like they have really open-minded views of the world, and they try to be very inclusive. But at the same time, I think that they have this sort of jaded idea of how the world works as well, and they're very affected by corruption. Like, there's someone who finds it hard to deal with corrupt people or selfish people. Very interesting energy. This is an intriguing person, to say the least. Let's have a look at what your relationship will be like with them. Excuse me, now. Group 3, please, Spirit. What will Group 3's next relationship be like with this person, Spirit? What will Group 3's next relationship be like with this person? We have the Hermit card reversed showing up first. There we go. It struggles to focus on these cards sometimes because they're so dark. What will Group 3's next relationship be like? Do you want me to take them both, Spirit? We have Anand. Wow, yeah, this person's... I mean, listen, their belief system could be that you only have one life, but they may believe in reincarnation. For most of you, they don't. They really think that, like, this is their one shot at life. What is this? The Lover's card, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, the Lover's card. I'm looking at it through the camera with you, so it's a bit confusing. Lover's card reversed. I heard I'm trying not to be selfish, but the world made me this way. Wow. I think they really would hate to become everything that they hate. You know, like, this is the one person who, by boycotting the selfishness of the world, they may end up becoming selfish, or their traits at times, their personality could look very selfish, right? And then they really despise that. So it's interesting. Complex person. But Spirit, what is Group 3's relationship like with this person? We have the 5 of Swords, one more card. What is Group 3's relationship like? We have the Emperor as well. Are we going to load? Are we going to focus? There we go, the Emperor. Wow, so at the back of the deck, we have the Tower. So you've got a lot of masculine energy in your reading, a lot of Mars influences. I'm kind of picking up that this person is very much a go-getter, determined. They don't, I mean, I'm repeating things now. They don't like to live with regret, so they go for what they want. However destructive it may appear, your relationship will be very transformative, exciting, but it could be chaotic at times. Not because it's intentional. This is someone who doesn't want to cause harm onto others, right? I think that they can be very philosophical though, and somewhat outspoken about their ideas. They're not afraid to speak up. They're not afraid to stand up. This is someone who, I'm hearing a revolutionist. On a grand scale, yes. For some of you, for a small percentage of you, yes. But for most of you, it's just the way that they think. They don't believe in inequality or injustice, and they like things to make sense. They like things to be, I'm hearing forward moving, especially with the Emperor here. I feel like they're not the world's biggest, humanitarian, but that's what their values are. They care about the idea of caring for each other. With the Tower as your bottom deck energy, I think that at times this relationship could really shock you, or this person at times could just kind of take control and make you feel like you got to kind of go along with it. And it could feel a little bit chaotic at times because you have to kind of deal with their heavy energy. And it's not that they intend to be like this heavy energy, but I just think that they have this like radical energy about them, and their radical mind, I think at times could really challenge you to think similarly. It's not that they force their values and views onto you, but I think that if you are a humanitarian yourself, or you're someone who is very passionate about supporting the community or helping other people or standing up for inequality, this person will push you to your limits of like being very, very radical. So it's an interesting relationship. I think it's going to be very exciting because it's not all a political thing. For most of you, it's not going to be political at all. But this person just has very strong, outspoken ideas that at times come across as political. I think that your relationship is one that's going to question your own values and beliefs here with this Hermit. It's not necessarily coming from a spiritual point of view, but it does lead to a lot of reflective, introspective thoughts. And it encourages you to think bigger than yourself. I feel like you're going to have some really powerful conversations with this person. And I think that that's how you truly bond, is through your thoughts and what you say to each other. This is someone who's going to give you a lot to think about. And I think that you're going to be kind of hesitant to really solidify something with them initially, because you're just wanting to gauge how compatible you are and how much you're willing to give to a relationship with them. For some of you, this person is very extroverted compared to you, and you may have thought that you're extroverted or that you were ready to kind of get out there in the world, but I think that their personality challenges you even more and makes you really like come out of your shell in a way where sometimes for some of you it's going to be a bit like, oh, I wasn't ready. But for most of you it's going to be healthy because it's time to get out. With Anant here, this is that idea of things coming back around, the birth and death cycle. So for it to be reversed, I do think that this person's point of views can be controversial at times and can sometimes get to be a lot for you. And I think that a lot of understanding them better and their subjective ideas is going to come from knowing that family member that they are very close with. And that's really going to help you get closer to them, because once you have those conversations, you're going to realize why they're like this. And I think that initially they could have very strong opinions about other people that are off-putting and that make you rethink how invested you are, because at first they come across as very fun, very exciting, and then all of a sudden they're bringing your energy down with these heavy opinions, and you're kind of like, oh, that's very opposite of looking at people equally. So kind of contradicting at times this person. With the Lovers card reversed, I feel like they kind of have this tendency to look selfish and act selfish, and it kind of leaves you feeling out. I don't believe that's this person's intentions. They are trying to be inclusive. They don't want to impose their views and sort of say it's my way or the highway, but I think they could be stubborn at times. And they come across as that, but I feel like they just value free speech. I'm trying to be so considerate of this person's personality, but I feel like I'm not doing a good job. Like I'm making them sound not the best. So with this Lovers card here in the reverse, it just feels like your conversations at times could be very radical, and this person will encourage you to speak your mind. They want to know what you're thinking. They want you to feel safe enough to share your thoughts, and they are going to want to agree to disagree too. You don't have to agree with what they say, and they don't have to always agree with what you say. I think that as long as you're aware of that within each other and you respect those boundaries within each other, this could be a very healthy, open-minded relationship. But if someone always has to be right and someone always has to be wrong, then it's not going to be a very straightforward situation at all. You're always going to be button heads. So just a little heads up there. I think this person will reshape the way that you view yourself and the way that you view your relationships with others. They will really encourage you to kind of look outside of yourself and how your actions are kind of shaping the unfair situations in your life. And I don't think they will consciously say that, but some of the ideas they have and the conversations you have with them will just have you thinking on a much bigger scale. Over here with the Five of Swords reversed, I see that this is a relationship that could be quite short for a lot of you, only because if neither of you have the patience to agree to disagree and someone has to be right, then somebody's always going to walk away feeling unheard and unseen in the relationship, as though their opinion doesn't matter. And I don't think that's the intention on either side. If you can agree to disagree and just settle it for what it is and move forward, I think this, again, could be a very successful relationship. But for most of you, it feels like you were attracted to the vessel and then the vessel spoke and you were like, that's kind of scary. I wasn't expecting you to say that. So group 3, it's an interesting situation that you've gotten yourself into over here. The other thing about this Five of Swords reversed is that does talk about being stuck sometimes on a specific topic or situation and feeling as though you don't have the closure or the opportunity to say what you want in order to get the outcome or the results that you want. So it comes back to this idea that with this person, you may kind of constantly find yourself running around hitting the same walls with them, the same topics, and getting the same frustrated response. I feel like that's where understanding this person's background could be beneficial, just to give you peace of mind and closure as well of like why they like this, what's going on with them. I feel like this Five of Swords is kind of highlighting that make or break point in the relationship, really. Because it's a build-up. It's a build-up of you adjusting to their rambunctious personality and then adjusting to their mortality views on the world and then adjusting to their sometimes selfish actions and very free speech attitude. And then it just kind of hits a point here where you're like, can I take much more? How much more can I adjust to? And if you're not someone who copes well with flexibility or very strong personalities, then this could be a lot for you. This could be a lot. I think this is, the kind of person who like wants communication, values communication, but they don't want to share the same mind, you don't have to have the same thoughts. If you agree, that's cool. If you don't, that's cool. They would rather you be honest than lie and say, I have the exact same idea or I have the exact same view of the world. And over here with this Emperor card, it kind of feels like, I'm so sorry, group 3, but this person was created as they are. They're not necessarily going to change. They're on this earth to be stubborn. I'm so sorry, that sounds so strange. But they're on this earth to be stubborn, and they're on this earth to be that type of way because they are a leader in their own way, and they are someone who is supposed to be like this. And I think that these are positive attributes, but just with certain personalities, it doesn't always mix well. I think that the outcome of this situation is that you're both going to be very sure of who you are as individuals, and that it can very well work as long as you're both flexible and able to agree to disagree when it comes to your personal values and opinions on the world. I feel like with this Emperor card here, this relationship can at times feel very much controlling because this person is such a strong personality. They kind of commandeer and steer the relationship as they want. But again, it's not supposed to be oppressive. So if it's getting to that point, then maybe you need to question how much you've had to compromise and whether this is something that you can put up with for the long term. Let's get some channeled messages now from this person's higher self to really just have a look at what it is that they're going through. Spirit, this will help us understand this person better and hopefully your relationship with them better as well. Group 3, please, Spirit. What else can you tell us about this person, or what does this person want to say to Group 3? What does their higher self want to say to Group 3? We have Fade Into You by Maisie Starr. So that's what I forgot to actually, that's what I didn't do well. I didn't give justice to this person's ability to just kind of melt into your personality. They come across very hard and stubborn and a very strong personality, but they're very drawn to the delicacies of you. And there's this underlying feeling of cherishing you and just really trying to be softer for you. So I feel like they come across very strong and harsh, but when it comes to you, like, they're learning and they're trying. And that's what this card is trying to explain as well, because that's something that I didn't do a good job of explaining in the rest of your reading. I want to hold the hand inside you. I want to take the breath that's true. I look to you to see the truth, fade into you, strange you never knew. So this is a beautiful song. It's like one of my favorites. And this shows to me that this person... Wow, you know what I just felt? This person's an empathetic, like, empath, but their feelings can sometimes be very overwhelming. They care, and sometimes they care too much. And that can look like they're cold, but that's them cutting off that empathy in order to feel like they are more in control. So this is someone who has the ability to really feel things on a deep level, but it becomes too overwhelming at times. So I feel like they do care very deeply for you, and they never really mean to hurt you. Yeah, I don't know how to explain it any better without making them sound, because they're not sociopathic. When I say they try to come across cold, I don't mean that they're sociopathic. I just mean that sometimes they feel too deeply, so they try to, like, cut that off and then they sometimes become insensitive, which is the case, I think. Group 3, what else can you tell us about this person? Oh my days. You know what? We're just going to have to reshuffle. Group 3, what else does this person want Group 3 to know about them? Oh, yeah, we know that. So, wow, this came out reverse for a specific reason. They said, I don't always do the right thing, but I always learn from my mistakes. So Manipura is the solar plexus chakra. It's that masculine energy of I can, I will, I'm determined, I achieve, I do what I want, I go for what I want. But with this card being in the reverse position, I don't always read reversals in my deck, but I feel like this person is still learning how to take positive action and how to take calculated risks. And they do. This relationship helps them become that type of person. But they aren't necessarily that person yet when you first meet them. They do make mistakes, but they own them and they learn from them, is what they're saying. I feel like this person is preaching their case to you. So for some of you, maybe you have a history with them, or you already have someone like this in your life, and they kind of are trying to explain their actions to you. What else does this person want Group 3 to know? We also have, Hot Tub Dream Machine by Toby Lou, Healer. Yeah, this confirms my suspicions about that empathy. This is really just confirming to me that this person feels a lot. They're very intuitive and they're very connected to the collective, but they don't necessarily like that. It's overwhelming. So this card is also about acknowledging your past, your mistakes, trying to fix things and move forward as well. So I need a hot tub time machine, then I can go back and fix everything. Same old you, but a different me. Maybe we can be human beings. I actually feel like they're very passionate about, like, their community or where they come from. And I do think that they just, don't know how to channel that well yet. They're learning. What else does this person want Group 3 to know? Yeah, I think at the core of them, like, this could be a very successful relationship because there is love there. There is care there. They're learning how to be that softer person. They're going to make mistakes, but they're also going to want to fix them. They're going to want to heal them. This person does care. And when they love deeply as well. What else does this person want Group 3 to know? Oh, wow, this song's come out a little bit, just a little bit. Yeah, Euphoria by Senra. This is ecstasy. So when I'm inside you, euphoria. When you look at me like that, euphoria. When you ask about me, euphoria. You know, you already know. So I do feel like this person will be very communicative and expressive about their feelings for you. I don't think they'll leave you guessing or they'll try to manipulate you. I'm not getting a malicious, malevolent energy from them. I'm getting a misunderstood energy of someone who just like doesn't necessarily know how to be a better person, but they're learning. And they butt heads with people because of their stubbornness and their strong views at times. So let's close by getting some advice for you as well. Group 3, please, Spirit. What advice do you have for them when it comes to this relationship? We have a venturing over here. So this is powerful advice, whether you know this person already or whether you are yet to come into contact, let alone union with them. Aventurine is a very feminine energy, okay? And it's that idea of you can't fight fire with fire. You have to fight it with water. And in this case, this water is very calm, very still, and very connected to the situation. When it comes to this person's energy, it's important that you look at the situation from a higher perspective and try not to get too attached to what how do I word this? It's like when someone struggles to find the right words, or maybe you're speaking to someone who English is their second language. There's like a language barrier. You can't get too attached to the words that they use, but rather the actions they take and the intentions that they have. That's what it feels like. For some reason, it's like one of you is speaking Spanish and the other person is speaking German. And obviously, there's going to be things that are lost in translation then. So it's very important that you stay connected to them based on their intentions and their actions. The other thing about this aventurine is that there's a lot to learn from somebody like this. And there's a lot that you can kind of understand about yourself from someone like this. I feel like this relationship may not be as challenging as I have articulated, because for some of you, you're naturally very patient people and you are people who are very open-minded yourselves. And I think that this person will be very interested in how you lead your life, because if you're here watching a tarot reading, then you're probably someone who is spiritual in one way or another. So whether you are religious yourself, because this person is connected to some sort of faith and belief system, or whether you have a very free sort of mind when it comes to spirituality, this person will be very understanding, and you'll recognize that like they share the same beliefs and core values that you do, which makes it so much easier to have an enjoyable, fun relationship that lasts. I sense that there will be ups and downs with this person, but the highs outweigh the lows, and this person is a very supportive energy. So for most of you, this is like the fire to your water, you know, the Leo to your Cancer, or the Leo to your Pisces, the Sagittarius to your Scorpio, whatever it is, it's like y'all balance each other out. So group 3, that's what I'm seeing for you when it comes to your next relationship. I hope that was a helpful reading for you. It was very fun for me, very different compared to the other groups. I'm going to take this into the extended now. So just to recap, in the extended reading, we're going to be looking at when this next relationship will come into your life, as well as union, when union will happen. And the way that I look at timing is I look at the whole situation, right? So I don't give you like a date. I give you a situation of what your life will be like when that happens. We're also going to have a look at how this person, how you meet them and how it comes together, and why as well, which will give us that bigger perspective and help us understand why the two of you come together in this lifetime. I will be getting more channeled messages, and we will get advice if we need to. So if you'd like to join me in the extended, the link will be in the description box. It's ready to go when you are. Before you go, wherever you're going, thank you so much for all of your support over here on YouTube, and thank you for supporting Free Tarot as well as this community. I also want to thank our spiritual teams, angels, ancestors, and guides for their support to channel these messages and protection as well. And I shall connect with you in another video. Bye. Hi Group 4 and welcome. If you chose this Capricorn card, then this is going to be your extended reading. So lovely to have you here. Now Group 4, today's reading we're asking Spirit, what is your next relationship going to be like? And in order to sort of give you a full understanding of what it's going to be like, we're going to have a look at who you're dealing with primarily. In this next relationship, who are they? And we're also going to have a look at what that relationship with them is going to be like. I will also be pulling channeled messages and we'll get some advice cards for you as well. For your extended reading today, we're going to be exploring when this relationship will come into your life, when this person will come into your life, and when union will occur. And then we're also going to be having a look at how y'all will meet and how union will happen and why, in terms of what's the bigger picture, how do the two of you contribute to each other's life, etc. We're also going to get channeled messages in the extended reading as well. So just a little heads up, that's what you can expect today. So I've just got a little quick disclaimer. First of all, I was lighting Palo Santo wood, so I've got ash on me. But also I was trialing out some temporary tattoos. So that's what's going on with my fingers. They're very faded at the moment because it was just ink. It wasn't supposed to be that permanent, but yeah, that's what's going on with my hands. Now, coming back to you, Group 4. First of all, this card is telling us a lot about your next relationship. Now, for some of you, I'm hearing that this could be a relationship that has a lot to teach you in terms of karma. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, so Saturn is often a planet that can create some really hard lessons in our lives, and it can kind of teach us things in a very slow way as well. It can be very gradual and often painful at times because it kind of just takes a long time for us to clear that baggage. Now, that aside, I feel like this will be a long relationship in your life, or it will be quite a significant relationship. I feel like your connection to this person will have quite the impact on you, Group 4. And I also have a feeling that it has something to do with your glow up or your success. Yeah, there's something about a glow up or success here, like because of this person, or maybe you meet them after you glow up. We'll see what Tarot has to say, but that's what I'm picking up already intuitively. What else does Group 4 need to know about their next relationship based on Capricorn Spirit? Yeah, obviously it could be indicating an earth sign here as well with Capricorn, or someone who's got a very strong connection to the material world. But I really feel like this has got to do with your glow up and you like rising in a way of like ambition. I'm hearing rising from the ashes, but I think that's just the cliche of you coming out of something, making something yourself, making it for yourself, if that makes sense. Let's get some cards out to tell us more about this person, and then we'll have a look at your relationship with them. Group 4, please, Spirit. Who will Group 4 be in a relationship with next? Oh, hello there. Who will Group 4 be in our relationship with next? We have Desert coming out. I'm not too surprised. This card likes to come out with earth signs for some reason. I think it's because it is like an earth card, Desert. But yeah, it's struggling to focus too. The Desert. What else can you tell us about the person that Group 4 will be in a relationship with next? We have the Vow with shadow attributes. What else can you tell us about the next person Group 4 will be in a relationship with? Hi. Excuse me, let me get those back in. What else can you tell us? Okay. We have the Pilgrim. Okay. Oh, rest your wandering legs. Interesting. What else can you tell us about this person? We have the Crone for you as well. This card came out for at least one other group. So you may have messages in other groups if you were feeling called to. We also have Apocalypsis Group 4. So you're bottering, oh my days. You're the last group that I've filmed, so I'm a little bit teared, but still, that's strange, bottering. Your bottom deck energy is the River. So listen, this relationship with this person, I don't know, you seem to have quite the impact on each other. Either you've both got a lot to learn or you've both been learning. Now, if I could just focus on their energy, this is someone who feels like they haven't had many experiences in love or many like serious experiences. This is either someone who looks at relationships as like fickle affairs, where you just kind of, I don't know, they just feel like they don't understand the point. And it feels like this person hasn't really quite experienced something that they're going to go through with you when it comes to a relationship. With Desert here and Pilgrim and the Vow in Shadow, you really, like, this person is going through a change in their life, especially with Apocalypses here. They're trying to grow up is what it feels like, or they're trying to fit into a new phase in their life, and it feels like they're trying that out with you. It feels like this person's almost having their arm twisted, like family and friends are saying to them, like, when are you going to settle down? When are you going to... And you kind of come along and they think, maybe I could do it with them. So I wanted to say that this person doesn't seem to have a lot of experience in relationships that you will be having with them. They seem to be someone who doesn't really know when to settle down, because either they take commitment very seriously or they've had really negative experiences with commitment in the past. With the Vow here, they felt like commitment just wasn't for them. And it does feel like your group is split. It feels like for some of you this is because they're worried that they'll be taken advantage of, or for others of you it feels like it's because they are very serious about it and they want to make sure that whoever they do settle into a relationship with, it's a significant person for a significant reason. Commitment is not easy. This is like the white whale, catching the white whale is very rare. And I want to say with the Pilgrim here, you seem to catch this person at a time where either they're deciding like, okay, I'm going to try something different, I'm going to stop wandering and I'm going to try to settle down, or you catch them at a time where they're expecting to wander for the rest of their lives. Maybe they've given up on love. Their opinions of commitment and relationships seem to be very skewed. And for some, it's like a protective measure, but for most, it's just like if it happens, it happens. I'm not really focusing on commitment right now. The River tells me that this person is very like free flowing. They just kind of move how they want to, and they seem to kind of go against the grain. Like when I think of a river, I think of something that is a force of nature, right? You can't just, unless you put in a lot of effort to create dams and to really move that water, like it's not easy to control the river's flow and the river's nature. So I feel like this person just kind of seems to be vibing in a very different way, and it seems like other people are telling them to do things like settle down, like why haven't you done this? Or maybe they just feel pressure from society with Capricorn here, pressure to follow a traditional way or to be more structured. There could be a very specific reason with Crone as to why they're like this, a very specific experience that they've had, because Crone is like wisdom. So it could be a very like logical thing that happened to them that's caused them to act like this. But I feel like this person is a little dry, like when you first meet them. They're a tough nut to crack. And the thing about Capricorn being here is that I think that they are very attractive. Like I think a lot of people admire them. Capricorn is usually someone who takes care of themselves and is attractive, but like it feels like they're not giving much with the Desert here and the Vow in Shadow. It's kind of like this person is hard to catch and settle down with. So they may have admirers, and then you may be someone who's very physically attracted to them. I just think that for some reason it's bizarre how y'all enter a relationship. It's almost like you catch this person at just the right time where they're thinking like, yeah, maybe I'll try. Like maybe I will listen to what that person told me over here and I will give it a go, despite my experience in the past, right? Despite going through this and deciding that relationships weren't for me or love was just too complicated for me, I am going to try again. So I feel like this person is a very wise person, and whatever reason they have, it makes sense in their head, but it's still a reason that's limiting them from being necessarily open emotionally, at least when you first meet them. Apocalypses. This is someone who's had a rebirth. Yeah, they will have changed and grown a lot when you meet them. And for some, like it'll be recently, but for others, it won't be that recently. Like I feel like they'll have been single or they will have been avoiding a serious commitment for a while. But they've got some other transformation on their mind. So bizarre. Let's get tarot out here, shall we? I need some help, Spirit. Please help me understand this relationship with group 4, please, Spirit. Capricorns aren't usually straightforward people. I'm just speaking because I am one. The older I get, the more Capricornian I feel. When I was younger, I was more like my rising sign, a Gemini. And then I turned into a Taurus because that's my moon. Moody, hormonal Taurus teenager. And now that I'm getting older, I'm like, yeah, I'm a Capricorn. I definitely am. So if this person's a Capricorn, something must have happened to them to cause them to be this jaded. Group 4, please, Spirit. What can you tell us about Group 4's next relationship? Hello. We have the Knight of, who are you, Wands? Yeah. The Knight of Fire, the Knight of Wands. Wow. Group 4, what can you tell us about their next relationship, please, Spirit? Hello. We have the Two of Swords next. Can we please focus? Oh, hi. Oh, look at that detail. Wait, can you? There. Interesting. Shattered. That's a cool depiction of the Two of Swords. Wow. What is going on with Group 4's next relationship? We have the Two of Cups now. Okay. I feel like this is a significant relationship. I might have to change the title of this reading because this is a significant... All the groups have had significant relationship readings. Are we taking that? 5 of Cups in the reverse. You've got 2 5s here that Spirit wants to show you. 5 of Cups. Please focus. I don't have a hand to tap the camera. There we go. Disappointment. And we also have the 5 of Wands as well in the reverse position. Wow. Goodness me. What's our bottom deck energy? Shall we have a look? I'm like talking to you like I'm Dora. Can you see the map? Okay, let's have a look. Bottom deck energy is the 5 of Pentacles. Okay, so this person has abandonment issues, sweets. That's why they're like this. They're lost, and I don't think it's necessarily a relationship. For some of you, this is childhood wounds. It's this feeling of being betrayed and needing to over-manage that feeling of betrayal by being very self-sufficient, hyper-independent, you know? Classic. It's something that affects a lot of people. So the 5 of Pentacles reversed, they're not as broken as they were when these issues were first realized and of course first happened. They've been healing, they've been working, they're aware, right? They know what they're doing, they've wizened, they've grown, they've healed, but those issues are still there. And I think with the 5 of Coins in the reverse, this relationship is really a test for maybe both of you, but especially this person, to be more open and to have healthy boundaries with people that they want in their lives. This is really testing this person to, and you, is what I'm feeling, to look at the relationship as an equal give and take and to not overgive and to not undergive. Because this is the kind of person who, if they feel like you're not giving a lot, they're going to pull back out of fear of giving the most and being hurt. So they're going to be like, well, I'm just going to walk out first then. That's the kind of person this is. And I feel like they have to kind of check themselves. The card under that is this 7 of Pentacles. They're a work in progress. They have to constantly check themselves and make themselves accountable for things that aren't working in the relationship and for their behavior that is counterintuitive, because intuitively they feel very connected to you. This is a significant relationship. This is someone who feels like the two of you are a good match. You're very compatible. There are compromises needed in this relationship, but it's nothing that a deep conversation or an honest conversation can't fix. You two are like two leaves of the same tree, but maybe one got sunlight and the other one had to grow in the shade, you know? So you look a little different. One's a little bit brighter and more vibrant, and the other one has maybe had to deal with the lack of, sunlight. So it kind of feels like this person recognizes a kindred energy in you, like they feel very drawn to you, and they know that if anybody is worth working on their emotional issues for, it is you. So I do see this person really trying not to hurt you and trying to work through their issues in order to help this relationship work. And I feel like they sense something similar in you too, group 4. Like I'm seeing the line blur a little bit. Either one of you is the people pleaser and the other one is the one who's afraid of giving too much and won't give it all, and won't give enough, you know. Or you're both very similar and you trigger these similarities within each other. With this Knight of Wands over here, I feel like you're both very attracted to each other. One person in particular is going to be extremely attracted to the point where they're going to pursue the other person. And I think that this chaser energy is coming from mostly the viewer, but it could very well be the other person as well. It's just like a very intense physical attraction, and it's prompted by this desire and passion to understand the attraction better. So I think that in the beginning things could move very quickly with this person, or feelings and like that crush, that infatuation phase could really come on strong for y'all once you see this person. But with the Two of Swords reversed, it kind of feels like something needs to be done in order for this relationship to move forward. And what this is telling me is that either y'all hit a stalemate where, okay, cool, I like you too, what are we going to do about it? I don't know. Or this stalemate is more of like, I need to do something extreme in order to make more room for you in my life, or I need to tell you the truth in order to be more honest with you, to have you in my life properly. Whatever this is, it's like a conversation and action needs to be taken in order to make this relationship more of a priority. And it feels like this is a struggle because we're not prioritizing that conversation, and it's mutual. You're both for some reason struggling to have that conversation. But I do see that once you do, because inevitably, right, this is your next relationship, once you do stop beating around the bush and avoiding that elephant in the room, you have the opportunity here with the Two of Cups to have that kindred connection. And ironically, with the Two of Cups, for some of y'all, it's easier just to start off as friends. But I don't think you guys believe that you can only be friends. You're that kind of couple who, for the sake of making it less complicated and more straightforward of a process, you're going to agree to like, okay, yeah, hi friend. But people are looking at you like you're not friends. There's insane chemistry between you two. There's no way you're the friends in this group. Like, it's very obvious. But I think that that's what helps this person not be so afraid, and you also kind of be more comfortable with the pace of the relationship. Because when this person is on you, I feel like they come on very strong. Often Capricorns, in my opinion, being a Capricorn and dating a Capricorn for a long period of time, and for some reason falling into the trap of continually being attracted to Capricorns, they are intense. They're low-key obsessive. I feel like they're the most underrated obsessive sign. People go, oh, Scorpio's obsessive. Aries can be obsessive. Libra has their flirtatious tendencies. But Capricorns are incredibly obsessed. Once their mind is set and their attention is there, it's hard to break a Capricorn's gaze on you. So I feel like that's what's going on here, is like once this person's mind is made up, and I feel like they do make their mind up before they take action on what they've decided, the two of you are going to focus more on just getting to know each other emotionally and really getting on the same page with each other emotionally. This person may ask you a million questions. I'm hearing that 50 Cent song, 21 questions, and they're all about us. That's what it feels like. They're going to interview you and be like, hey, so Do you want children? Okay, cool. How many? You don't want children? All right, that's fine. Can I ask why though? Okay, cool. I understand. Like, it's not like they're kind of anything you say is wrong, right? Because these are personal questions. If you're being honest, you can't be technically wrong. That's just the answer. But I do think that they're testing you a little bit here to see if how compatible you are and if you're on the same page. With this Five of Cups reversed, it's very likely that this relationship is going to require work because someone is not getting everything that they want emotionally, and the other person is really also doing the same thing. Like, neither of you are technically getting what you want emotionally, but one person, and I feel like it's this person, isn't giving as much as the other. And it's because of what's happened before, and it's something that they're very aware of, and it's something that I feel they do continue to work on. But when it comes to you, I think that there are times in this relationship where you feel emotionally disappointed by where this person is at and maybe some of the boundaries they have and how kind of guarded they can be. Because it's not even like guarded, that's not the best word. It's like this person just doesn't consider things that you would assume would happen. So like maybe this person always kind of, maybe okay, let's go with the analogy of they've been single for a while, right? So they've only managed their own affairs and their daily activities for themselves for a long time. And then with you coming in, say it comes around to the weekend, and even though y'all are dating and you've been dating for months, maybe a year, this person still just doesn't assume that you're going to be spending the weekend together. Maybe they book something for themselves and it makes you feel like, oh, they're not as interested in me as I am in them. Like, why would they assume we wouldn't be together this weekend? We've been seeing each other for like a year. So it could be just little things like that they like just kind of go, oh, what am I going to do this weekend? Oh my God, there's like a bird show in town. I love birds. Let me go have a look at these birds. Oh, but so-and-so, like my partner doesn't like birds. Oh, that's okay. Like, I'll just catch up with them on Sunday. But to you, you're like, oh, you could have at least asked me, why didn't you? So it kind of feels like this person, they don't mean to hurt you, but sometimes the way that they think and the way that they're always kind of looking after themselves and really trying to fulfill like their needs, it comes across as a little bit selfish sometimes, right? I did get that message in another group, but for different reasons. This is somebody who, like, practically, due to practical reasons, thinks of themselves. Because it's been so long of them doing something in a certain way, that's what they're doing. And it just leads to some emotional disappointment. With the Five of Cups being reversed, it's not your fault, but it's an issue that is being dragged into your relationship. Now, this Five of Wands reversed, someone might have a jealous streak in this relationship. And it's not enough to cause real problems because it's not being incited. It's not like warranted, if that makes sense, without being rude if it's you, sweets. But it's not like a genuine reason to feel jealous. This person, your partner, I feel is loyal. They just don't have strong views and opinions on certain relationships that involve marriage, for example, with vow and its shadow attributes. They're very selective over who they enter serious relationships with, but maybe they are very attractive and that makes you feel concerned about whose eyes on them. But I feel with the Five of Wands reversed, this is a relationship that kind of may stress you out at times. And when you seek like support from loved ones, they may be in your ear saying the worst. And at times it's a lot and it has you feeling some type of way that isn't necessarily true. So it's kind of this idea of like other people seem to have a lot of opinions about this relationship. And I don't think it's warranted. I think it's just the case of like you're venting, right? And your loved ones are noticing how upset you are and they're hearing the things and you're only listing all the worst possible things that this person's put you through. None of the positive, because that's what a venting rant is. And they're just seeing that and hearing that and going, why are you still with this person? Like, leave them. Why are you letting them put you through this? And you're like, but listen, I feel like we're soulmates. Like, as frustrating as it is, I know why they do this and they're trying to deal with it. So I'm just trying to be patient. We're on the same page. Like, I'm just here to vent. So I do think that other people's opinions have or will cause some issues in this relationship. But again, with these fives reversed, all of them, including your bottom deck energy, the Five of Pentacles, they're not make or break issues. They only become worse when you lose that footing in the relationship and you internalize those problems instead of communicating them to your partner. And I've had this message come up for all of the 4 groups, so it's starting to feel like a relationship counselor over here. But I do think that this is someone who has good intentions. They're just so wired, like hardware programmed in a certain way. Like their environment has really fostered this conditional being, and it's nothing that can't be grown through or changed, evolved. But they need to know that something's broke so they can fix it, you know? And if you don't share those thoughts, much like this sword, if you pretend like the sword is whole, then how can they have a hope in hell of fixing it and honestly working on this relationship with you? I do see that for the most part, they're going to be patient, they're going to listen, and they're going to want to work on this with you. That Two of Cups upright gives me a lot of hope that this could be a very meaningful, significant relationship in your life for all of the right reasons, as well as the challenges, because no relationship is easy. Let's get some channel messages from this person's higher self now to see what they have to say about this relationship. Group 4, what does their person's higher self want to say about this relationship? What is group 4's? We got 2 cards. We have Dangerous by the XX. Excuse me. My mouth is doing weird things. We have, okay, they say we're in danger, but I disagree. If proven wrong, shame on me. But you've had faith in me. They say you are dangerous, but I don't care. Trust. Their higher self is like, trust me, I'm not trying to hurt you. But it's that idea again of like people being in your ear, telling you like this person isn't good for you. And I sincerely believe that they're seeing the worst case. They're seeing the worst side of this person. We're also being shown 99 bottles by pissed idiots. I lie and I cheat and I overdrink. I tend to overeat. I am just living for the weekend. I do what I do best. I'll show you how to lose. Can we clarify that energy, please, Spirit? Oh, that was quick. Oh, yeah. You've got a very honest person on your hands. I don't know many Capricorns who lie. Not to say that they don't have it within them, but Capricorns are very self-aware. Yeah. You have a very honest person. So it could be at the detriment. This is someone who... It's so interesting. I'm being shown like a window of all the people that remind me of this person. And the main window, like the main thing that I'm seeing in this window is like when you ask someone to list like their strengths and weaknesses, and this is someone who will honestly tell you all of their weaknesses. Like they will honestly tell you like, I lie sometimes, I cheat, I overdrink, I overeat, like I'm just living for the weekend, I do what I do best, I'll show you how to lose. And it comes out of this mentality of being somewhat humble and modest, as well as like a little bit self-deprecating. You know, like I do think that this person doesn't have the best view of themselves. Like they don't see themselves as the king of everything or the queen of everything. They do sometimes struggle with their self-image. And I really think that this is an incredibly honest person to a fault. Like this is the kind of stuff that would come out on the first date and you would be sitting there like, why the hell would I want to go on another date with you when you're barely selling yourself? Like so I think like out of curiosity, you'll continue to entertain this person because you're attracted to them. There's chemistry, they're exciting. They're also quite spontaneous, or they can be a very exciting partner to be around. And I do believe that y'all got sexual chemistry together too. That is very rare. Like this is the kind of person who, with their Knight of Wands, you're not just attracted to them because they look good. It's that inexplainable chemistry. You can't replicate that, right? So that's what's going to really keep you tied in. And then it's the curiosity of why is this person so honest? What the heck is going on with them? And you could ask them, like, why would you say that? Like, are you serious? Like, why would you tell me these things? They'd be like, oh, listen, like, I value honesty. Or I've noticed that a lot of the things that happen in life when they fail, it's because people weren't honest. Like, Very interesting individual. Very interesting. What else does this person's higher self want to say to group 4 about their relationship together? We also have, this card comes out for a specific group. So, and somebody said last time that they got this card as well. So it's been coming out a lot lately, just selectively though. So this is Closure by Lil Nas X, which is a catalyst energy. True say, I want and I need to let go, use my time to be free. It's like it's always what you like. Why it's always what you like. So it's interesting. It's like this person... Yeah, Spirit's saying this is that karma energy of your relationship. There are things to work through in this relationship, and I definitely think this isn't necessarily going to be an easy relationship, right? This person's difficult, and they know they are, but they are trying, and I don't mean to sell them because you have free will, sweets. If you hear this and you're freaking out and you're like, I don't need that in my life, then that's fine too. You have free will. But I'm not picking up on malevolent energies in this reading and in your group specifically. It really feels like they're just someone who's working on being a better person. And I feel like their selfishness, with quotation marks, selfishness, is actually a reflection of them trying not to overgive, right? They're trying to have those healthier boundaries of being more balanced and not being the one who accidentally overgives. Group 4, please, Spirit. Maybe they have a tendency of people pleasing in their past. What else does this person's higher self want to say to group 4? Ooh, oh, you got 2 cards. Okay, so at the bottom of the deck, we have All My Friends by Great Gable. Should I drink another lie? Would it make it right? Can I call myself her lover? But all my friends, they say they're happy for me. But my mind, it traces back to all the harm I've caused. Listen, this person may actually have regrets when it comes to you. If they cause you any harm emotionally, or if they make you feel like you're any less than what you are, they are going to regret that. They're going to constantly be thinking about that. Like, why did I treat this gem like that? Why did I make them feel like that? And I do think that part of this person still has to forgive and heal from something that happened to them in the past. And it feels like it's a parent, sweets. It feels like it's not a lover. It's more of a parent or a parental figure, someone who was responsible for them, who didn't necessarily take care of them. That's what it's giving me the energy of. But I do think that whatever weight they carry around with them, whatever baggage emotionally they carry, it naturally translates and transfers into their other relationships. We do have Believe by Cher coming out. It's so hard that you're leaving. It takes time to believe it. But after all is said and done, you're going to be the lonely one. Do you believe in life after love, vigilance? This person will not give up. I'm really feeling strongly that when it comes to your relationship, they will make sure that they've done everything that they can and that they don't have regrets. So if y'all choose to split, I think that this person would try to start something with you again, just to make sure that they did absolutely everything before they let you go. We also have Wait a Minute by Willow, surprise. Wait a minute, I think I left my consciousness in the 6th dimension. Some things don't work, some things are bound to be, some things they hurt and they tear apart me. Wow. I'm actually running out of air as I'm talking about this. My lungs can't fill up enough. I'm between the cards. It's crazy because I'm just sitting here. I have a really good resting heart rate too at the moment, so I don't know why, but I'm struggling to breathe. So it feels like this relationship, and from your person's point of view, it really helps them solidify the person that they want to be and work on who they want to be. And I think that it is a spiritual transformation, but I also think that this person's been transforming with Apocalypse. They've been going through something, and this is a test for them. How badly do you want that healthy relationship? How badly do you want to continue working on yourself and be the best version of yourself? How badly do you want an honest, loving person in your life? And this person's like, crap, here they are. I got to work for them. Group 4, don't leave. That's what it feels like. Let's get an advice card for y'all, because I think you need it. Group 4, what advice do you have for them, Spirit, when it comes to this relationship? Group 4, please, Spirit. What advice do you have for them when it comes to this relationship? Group 4. Group 4, please, Spirit. Ooh, you got the air energy. They are a communicator, so we've got air signs here. They could be an earth-air cusp, you know, like what do we have? Taurus, Gemini, Virgo, Libra, Capricorn, Aquarius. We have rock crystal coming out as your advice. Sweets, communication. I'm just going to have to get that tattooed to my forehead. Not that you can see my forehead. I should get it tattooed to my fingers. Communication is key. Maybe not that one. That finger's aggressive. But yeah, it's just coming up so often. Rock crystal. So this is about communication, but this is about careful, helpful communication. This is about discussion and making sure that it is something that people feel safe enough to contribute to. It shouldn't just be an opinion piece or a monologue. This is very much about an open discussion in the relationship. I think that you're really being encouraged to speak your mind, because this is someone who needs to have a piece of your mind. They need to understand where you're coming from, what you need, what your needs are in a relationship. They need to understand how they can best love you. This is an intuitive person in their own respect, but they're also someone who deals well with information and logic and wisdom. So they want to know, they want to understand, they want to learn. I see with the number 15 that this could be a helpfully challenging relationship, in the sense of this is someone who is workable. I'm hearing moldable. That sounds terrible, but they're kind of like ready to, oh no, that's not a good word. What's a better word, Spirit? To be moved in the ways that you want them to be. I sound like the words I'm hearing, I'm like manipulated, and that has such a negative connotation, but it's that essence of like this person is trying to be open-minded and they are willing to work with whatever you give them. Let's say that. That's better. With the throat chakra here, it is about communication for sure. It's also about thinking and really communicating effectively together in this relationship. When it comes to like meeting this person and understanding them, the best thing you can do is just ask them questions and actually get to know them based on asking these questions. Try not to assume anything. I feel like this is a very honest person that you're working with, sometimes too honest. They really just wear their information out on their sleeve. And the cheat codes are all there. Try not to read between the lines. What you see is what you get, is what I'm hearing. So I feel like this rock crystal is just saying that. What you see is what you get. Ask and you shall receive. Keep that communication effective and open, and make sure that you're having discussions, not just monologues, not just rants, but discussions with this person throughout this relationship. So group 4, that's what I'm seeing for you, sweets. What a way to wrap up this reading. I hope this was helpful for you. You may have found that this person's already a part of your life, and that's what I've noticed in each of the other groups as well. There has been that undercurrent where it's like, oh, some of y'all know this person. So I hope the advice was helpful, as well as the channeled messages. It's been an honor to read for you over here on YouTube. I'm going to take this reading into the extended now, where we will have a look at your next relationship in depth, focusing more on when this person will come into your life and into union with you, how that's going to work and how you met them as well, just to help you confirm who they are. We're also going to look at why they came into your life to confirm the bigger picture, and just to kind of help you understand why these challenges shape you in a helpful way. And we're also going to get more channeled messages as well. So if you'd like to join me in the extended, the link is in the description box. I shall see you there. I do want to thank you before you go for all of your support over here on YouTube. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And I also want to thank our spiritual teams, angels, ancestors, and guides for supporting me in this reading, helping me channel these messages and keeping me safe while doing so. I shall connect with you in another video. Bye.